Welcome to the Executive's View, the sports podcast where the stakes are high and the debates are fierce. Please welcome your host, Aaron Sirius Simmons, alongside co-host Barry DeVille Jordan. Each week, we bring you into the boardroom where the elite minds of sports converge. From the gridiron strategies to the business behind the ball, we tackle the hard-hitting questions and give you an insider's perspective. So pull up a chair and join us at the table where champions are made and legends are born. This is the Executive's View. Let's get down to business.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Executive's View. I'm your host and actually your co-host this evening, Aaron Sirius Simmons, and we are the View from on top, man. You could be anywhere in the world on a Tuesday night, but you're here with the executives, and I do appreciate that, man. You guys know how we like to get started, man. If you see the show, share the show, man. We're all over this Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, Spotify. We're all over the place. We're doing big things in big places, and we want you to come along with us, man. You guys know I don't do this by myself. I got a slow host with me, man. My co-host, Barry DeVille Jordan, who's going to have to do a little bit of work today, but Villain's in the building. What's going on, my guy? How we doing, sir?
I'm doing great. I had a nice conversation with Unc Chandler in the green room. We ready to cook, man. I'm ready to go in. I need y'all to feel me with no hands this time.
Yo, it's going to be silly.
Before I pass it off, listen, if you know somebody down in the Florida area, reach out to them, pray for them. You obviously do what you can. I have family down there. It's a serious situation. They're getting the brunt of that storm. So prayers up for everybody down there in Florida.
Definitely, man. If you have the opportunity and the ability to help out, whether you can donate or send resources, whatever you can, each one touch one, you know what I'm saying? So definitely shout out to you for that, Villain. Larry is in the building. What's going on, Larry? How are we doing today, sir?
Yo, what's up, fellas? I see we got a nice little crew in tonight, man.
It's going to get live. Hey. It's going to get live, man. I can't wait.
While Barry over here talking about that nice little convo, man, me and Aaron had a nice little convo yesterday, man. Hey, sometimes you got to pull to the side and have a little convo.
Yeah, man. It's nothing like it, man. Nothing like it. Breaking news. Hughes is in the building. What's going on? Breaking news. How we doing, sir? Welcome back.
What's good, boys? Appreciate Barry. I appreciate you you throwing out the shout out there for the people, not just in Florida, but also even the people still struggling in North Carolina. Definitely keep them in our hearts, prayers, and like you said, if you have the ability to help, do so. There's a lot of struggling folks out there right now.
Definitely, man. CK Unc is in the building. I never a dull moment with this guy, man. What's up? How you doing, sir?
I'm hanging in.
That's good, man. That's good. Villain, in the green room.
No, man, we gotta get wound up. He too laid back today. We gotta get him wound up.
We's about to. Normally, we start this show with baseball. But I figure we go football to start the show off. And before we do, the man, the myth, the legend, Coach himself is back in the building. What's going on, Coach? How we doing, sir?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I had to find my Padres hat. Let's go, Fathers.
Yeah. So, with that being said, man, I'd really like to start with baseball and kind of work myself down, but due to the situation that took place this afternoon, we're going to run that piston out first, and if we get the baseball, we get the baseball. Breaking news this morning, as most of us were at work and doing through our normal everyday activity, Robert Saleh of the New York Jets was relieved of his duties and escorted out with security. I personally feel a certain type of way about it, but I wanted to throw this around the room and let everybody say what they got to say. Villain, you got your hand up first. Talk to me, my guy. How you feel?
We got to be fair. All right. We have to be fair. He was not escorted out of the building. All right. So the report was that came out early that he was escorted out, but basically what they spun it as is that typically when somebody's a coach or somebody like that is
Mhm.
fired, somebody will walk with them out of the building. Now, the rub is with Adam Gase, the former coach, before Saleh was fired, he was not escorted out. So that's where this report is starting to bubble
Well,
in.
Well, so
I just want to be fair. I want to be fair.
No. I got you. But see, here's the deal. Like normally when a coach is let go, relieved of his duties, whatever the case may be, he has an opportunity to kind of talk to the players about it and say, yo,
Sure.
the organization's going a different direction. This is who's taking over. He hasn't spoken to anybody. The players found out.
I don't think that's unintentional. To be honest with you,
I think there was a lot more there. And again, this is the perfect time for everybody to talk about it. But since you had your hand up first, tell me how you feel, my guy.
I mean, there's a lot of mixed emotions, and I think to one, I don't like. Listen, I've been fired before from jobs, right? It's not a great feeling, right? I've been let go for whatever reason, layoffs, what have you, right? So I understand Saleh's side of it, right? But we all can. I don't know everybody's opinion on here. I know me and Chandler were talking about Saleh was not doing a good job. 20-36 over 3.5 or 3+ years. He wasn't getting the job done. You lost your starting quarterback last year, 4 plays in. The offense was anemic. You get him back. You have the talent, and the offense is still anemic, right? The report that I saw was that Saleh wanted Hackett fired. Like, that was what he wanted. And then it got back around, and it was like, well, no, I'm not going to fire Hackett. I'm going to fire you. And that's where we're kind of at with this. This is what I was hearing, right? There's a lot of reports out there, what have you. So, listen, I think Saleh is a good coach. I think he's a good coordinator. I don't think he's a good head coach. And there's a difference, right? We all know that. There's a different type of level to being a head coach than there is to being a coordinator, worrying about one side of the ball, worrying about the whole team, the whole program, all that good stuff. Saleh wasn't equipped to do that. So that's where this is coming from, right? But I'll let everybody else talk, but my mode right now is Aaron Rodgers is a plague. He's a plague. Like, honestly, like his last couple of years in Green Bay, he was just unbearable. As soon as he leaves Green Bay, they went to the playoffs with you know what I mean, with a first-year quarterback, right? Mike McCarthy, we could say what we want about him. He won a Super Bowl, but gets no credit. It was Aaron Rodgers. Like, I have a problem with Aaron Rodgers from the beginning of the year. You knew that there was issues with him and Robert Saleh. He didn't show up to camp on time, mandatory camp. Everybody kind of said, "Oh, it's nothing. He's a veteran. He does well." There is a problem, and you could see it on the sideline when he went to embrace him, and they didn't. He was like, pause, like, fall back. So Aaron Rodgers is part of the problem in New York. I'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. I'm not my fault. We got a full house tonight. I definitely want to let everybody get an opportunity to kind of say what they got to say. We got a New York Jet fan in the building, so I'm gonna let you run, my guy. Robert Saleh is gone. I was with you when the hiring took place, so I know exactly where you're going with this, man. Talk your stuff, man. Say what you got to say, man.
First off, I don't care about Robert Saleh. I don't care about his feelings. I don't give a damn, because he's still gonna get paid for another year. So miss me with everybody's been fired. I don't care. I don't care if it feels good or not for him. He never should have been the coach. I said that the day he was hired. I said it the day before he was hired. I said it when they were considering him, that he was not going to be a good head coach because he's not a leader. Mm-hmm. See, here's the problem with a lot of the nonsense that's been going on. And with a lot of times, he's a defensive coach, so he can't know offense. Listen, you have been hired to be a leader. You are in charge of everyone. So I don't want to hear that you're only good at this. and you're going to let one of your subordinates have control of this, and you're going to be hands off, because that's ridiculous nonsense. Okay, and maybe it's the military mindset in me, but if I'm in charge of everything. And I don't want to hear, the politics of Aaron Rodgers. Listen, I once ran a shop and I had the Secretary of the Navy's son under my supervision. Okay, you can't say this to him. You can't say that to him. Guess what I did? I said this to him and I said that to him. I made him work. It caused a lot of problems for me. When I got my evaluations, they were not good. So I missed out on an opportunity to get promoted. But that I don't care, because my job was to supervise and lead everyone. Not everyone except this guy. Okay? So I don't want to hear about Robert Saleh and Aaron Rodgers. Listen, I'm the head coach. Either I'm going to coach the whole team or fire me now. Would have been what I would have said to Woody Johnson. And if they fired me, guess what? Now you owe me 4 years or 3 years of pay. I'm good, because somebody's going to hire me as defensive coordinator, and I'm going to cash these checks. Woody Johnson. That's not what he did. He sat back and kept making excuses and allowed Aaron Rodgers to run roughshod over him, so he lost the respect of the entire team. See, that's the piece everybody's missing. When I keep letting one of my subordinates do whatever the hell he wants, why is anyone else going to listen to me?
But don't you think he has that? Don't you think he has that cachet? Unfortunately, Aaron Rodgers has that clout that he can do whatever the hell he wants.
No, not under me.
If Saleh tried to challenge him, which I'm sure he tried to, it's like, dude, that's Aaron Rodgers. Don't do that.
Okay, and I'm gonna say then fire me if you're not gonna let me coach Aaron Rodgers.
I think that's where we're at today.
Well, no, because he wanted to fire Hackett. See, again, passive aggressive nonsense. Instead of going to the owner saying, listen, Aaron Rodgers works for me, I work for you. That's the chain of command. If it ain't gonna be that, but instead he said, well, I want to get rid of Nate Hackett. They tried to do that in the offseason, but see, and then the passive aggressive nonsense. They wanted to hire somebody as the offense coordinator, but they didn't want to give him the title. Bruh, miss me with all of that.
But see, he didn't want Hackett at all. Right? Remember?
I understand that. And sometimes you get stuck with people to work for you you don't want. You still have to make them do their job, or you find a way to get rid of them.
But why did he get stuck with Hackett?
Because I'm going back to the same thing. He allowed ownership to basically neuter him.
That's not fair. That's not fair. Everybody knows why Hackett got this job. Everybody knows why Hackett got this job.
Barry. Either lead, follow, or get the hell out of the way. Okay?
But Hackett got the job because of Aaron Rodgers. And you couldn't fire him because
then
of Aaron Rodgers.
He should have said it's either me or Hackett.
Then Chandler, come on.
I'm dead ass. Dude,
listen,
Barry.
I'm with you. I feel you. I'm in the same boat, brother. But let's be clear. He couldn't do that.
Why not?
Because ownership is all over the idea that Aaron Rodgers has all the clout in the world.
Which part of
where would he get another job?
He get hired as a defense coordinator in a heartbeat. So miss me with the I'm scared to go in and put my foot down nonsense. I don't believe in that. And I'm speaking from my experience and what I would have done and what I have done. And yes, I've lost jobs because of it. I don't care, because my integrity and how I value my leadership skills are more important than a paycheck for me, because I can get another job. But I'm not going to let you neuter me if I'm in charge.
But he's a president level. Why would I want to just go settle for another job at a manager level? Because
if you do that, number one, you go back as a coordinator. In a year or two, someone's going to try to hire you again. Okay, because they recycle the same damn coaches over and over and over and over and over and over. And plus, he would go right back to Kyle Shanahan, work with him again. Kyle Shanahan sprinkle that pixie dust on him, and there's, oh my God, he's running the Shanahan tree. We have to hire him. Come on, son. Now the Aaron Rodgers piece. Bro, the Aaron Rodgers piece, I get it. I told you when Aaron Rodgers came, y'all said, aren't you happy with Aaron Rodgers? And I said, hell no, because Jets gonna be Jets, and they're gonna Jets this up, right? And what did they do? Same old Jets, right? Same old Jets. Just like when Brett Favre came, right?
Exactly like Brett Favre.
It's the same exact situation, but at least the coach didn't. I forget who coach. I think it was Mangini. At least tried to put his foot down. You know what I'm saying? He fought for things. He got things, but Brett Favre was going to be Brett Favre when he was on the field. Okay, but as far as managing the team and who was in charge of Mangini said, listen, bro, I'm the coach. Okay, but now when Brett Favre get out there changing plays and all the other nonsense, that's a whole other conversation. You can't do it when the guy's on the field. But Mangini kept control of the team, and he said, I'm the coach, you the player. This is how it's going to go. Now, I hate Eric Mangini, but I do respect him for that. And Robert Saleh could have done that. He chose not to, and then he allowed Aaron Rodgers to knife him and knife him and knife him and knife him, okay? And now he don't have no job, and all I've heard all day, oh, my God, Aaron Rodgers, and it's all Aaron Rodgers' fault. This is all Robert Saleh's fault because he's not a leader.
I understand what you're saying about Saleh's culpable. Saleh's the problem. Saleh didn't have control of that team. He didn't have control of that locker room. The players didn't respect him. But I'm not letting Aaron Rodgers off the hook for this. Two
things can be true. Two things can be true. Robert Saleh is the God. There's a phrase, something of his own demise. Director, captain. Yeah. He's a victim of his own demise. Right. There you go. But Aaron Rodgers did him no favors. Aaron Rodgers is a clown. Aaron Rodgers shouldn't be the quarterback. Dude, I told you when the season started, this was going to be a complete dumpster fire. Okay, you got a quarterback who refuses to move, who's using an archaic offense and wants to do what he wants to. Oh, by the way, now we got to go get Devontae Adams because you didn't want to spend enough time with Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson's supposed to be psychic and just read your mind. Okay, when I stand here and I do this and I do that means you do that. Man,
that's the point, because he missed parts of camp. That the valuable time, this whole team needs to learn how to win, and I want everybody else to chime in too. I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth with Unc. Right? This whole team needs to learn how to win. Aaron Rodgers is one. Where are you? Why aren't you in camp with these guys, teaching them what it takes to win? You know what I mean? That's the part.
He was in camp this past year. He showed up to mini camp. He showed up to training camp. He showed up to OTAs. He was there this year.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
He did not show up.
He showed up to camp.
He was in and out.
He was in and out. When camp officially broke, he was not there. Yeah. He wasn't there. Don't you remember? It was big headlines. Aaron Rodgers, he's not there.
Tom Brady was in a park breaking COVID rules to practice with his wide receivers, and Aaron Rodgers was too busy going to Egypt so he could see the flying carpet and Aladdin's magic lamp. I don't know what the hell he was doing.
I don't know.
Okay.
He said the flying carpet. Yeah, I'm so done with you.
That's Aaron Rodgers' MO. Aaron Rodgers does that every year.
Go ahead, go ahead.
So I'm reading an article right now dated August 31st. Aaron Rodgers throws balls at camp.
He showed
up to camp.
Yeah, but he was
August 31st. What date was that?
August 31st. So it had to have been.
Camp broke way before that. Camp started in July. He wasn't there.
He was in and out.
Google it. Aaron Rodgers missed camp.
I'm on it now. But go ahead, Larry. Talk to me.
Oh, yeah, man.
Thank you. Wait. Everybody, take that clip and record it. The villain was right. Sirius was wrong. I want everybody to know.
Yeah, you're not going to admit to being wrong, man. He's never going to do that. He's never going to do that. He's going to go around it, but he's not going to admit that.
I'm going to throw this in the chat real quick.
Right. You got two 49ers fans on here, and I'm going to tell you right now, Saleh was the right hire, bro. That 49er, if you're a hot coordinator, you going to always get first dibs at a job. And that 49ers defense was literally destroying offenses at the time. Literally game-wrecking offenses. So at the time, do you recycle one of these old, recycle head coaches, or do you give the hot coordinator, whether it's an offense or defense, coordinator, a chance? The issue that I put a lot of this on Woody Johnson. I put it on Woody Johnson because the problem with the Jets was the defense was dominant, and it was like, okay, we need to fix the offensive side of the ball. So what we do is, what do we need? We need a quarterback. We took the chance on Zach Wilson. We saw Zach Wilson wasn't going to cut it. So now what do? We go get a quarterback, quote unquote. And the only way you're going to get Aaron Rodgers is if you bring in Nathaniel Hackett. And if you look at the Jets games, and now we get it, last season was a wash, because they planned everything around Aaron, brought in all his cronies and all the other stuff, right? And I'm going to tell you right now, Mike LaFleur is actually a better O coordinator than Nathaniel Hackett is. That Rams offense looks good, and they should have kept LaFleur instead of getting rid of him for Nathaniel Hackett to get Aaron Rodgers. But you got Nathaniel Hackett, who had the Broncos offense looking like trash. He had the Jets offense looking like trash. And then you bring in Aaron Rodgers, who wants to do whatever the fuck Aaron Rodgers wants to do. Chandler, I'm gonna put it like this. Me and Aaron, we talked about it. You got a rain, soaking, muddy game, and Aaron Rodgers throws 55 passes. 55.
Can I say one thing, Larry? And I'm gonna tell you why Robert Saleh never should have been a head coach. Before Aaron Rodgers got there, when Zach Wilson got hurt, and they played Mike White, and they were getting on an airplane to go to a road game. Excuse me. And the players came out the locker room wearing Mike White t-shirts, and the coach didn't know about it, nor did he stop them from doing it. He's not a head coach. He's a great coordinator. He's not a head coach.
Well, you got to give him the opportunity. That's what I'm saying. He
got it and he failed.
And that's what a lot of them do. They fail, but you can't say that he shouldn't have been hired to begin with.
Yes,
now,
I can.
Some of the things that happened after the fact. Now that's a whole nother subject.
That's like hindsight. That's hindsight.
He should have got the job. The problem was, we're gonna see it play out this season. He's like JJ Redick. We all said it. JJ, blink twice if you're a hostage. Let us know that you need us to send in somebody to rescue you. You could tell, because ain't no way in hell you're gonna throw the ball 55 times, and you got Breece Hall in the backfield and Allen in a rainy game, bro. Miss me with that, bro. That's Aaron Rodgers. That's Nathaniel Hackett. And after these last two games, he probably said, you know what, Nathaniel, you got to go. And Aaron, I got to reel you in. And that's when Woody stepped in. And miss me with this. I talked to Aaron Rodgers last night, but it wasn't about Saleh. That whole goddamn conversation was about Saleh.
Aaron Rodgers has the NBA star player treatment.
Yes.
He's got the LeBron level power on this team. He really does.
I can tell you right now, and you got to remember, Saleh, yeah, he's a Shanahan disciple, but Shanahan is old school. And when Aaron Rodgers was missing mandatory and they making excuses for him and not finding him, I can tell you right now, Saleh probably wanted to find his ass and probably wanted to do stuff to him. But Woody said, no, you don't do that. You don't do that. You could tell by some of them press, because you could tell he wanted to be, when you looked at his demeanor in that interview, he was like, I really want to find the shit out of him and make sure he's here. But if I do that, then now I'm upsetting the guy who writes my checks. And ain't nobody going to sit up and say, oh, I'm going to quit when you got a $30 million guaranteed contract. And if they fire you, you get your money. And if you quit, you get zipped. Yeah, you're going to, hey, it's coaches out here now getting paid from 3 and 4 teams because they didn't got fired. Ain't nobody, hey, the Steelers got Russell Wilson cheap because he's still collecting that Broncos check. Hey, when that direct deposit go through, I bet you it's a small one that say Steelers and a big one that say Broncos because
Russ happy as hell.
Yeah, because they released him. He didn't he didn't retire or something like that. So yeah, like I said, I'm honestly. And I know they say Kyle sent him a text. I would actually rather him be back on the Niners because our defense.
I mentioned that. And
if it takes the Jets throwing us a bone, hell, I'll take that bone, man. Hey,
yeah, but for every dollar he makes, that's $1 less from the Jets. If I'm him, I don't work this shit. Give me all my damn money.
I think that's not how it works.
It is. For coaches, it is.
You get fired, I think you get both.
No, you get the difference. You get the difference, and you get the difference.
We'll work that out though. We'll work that out.
Breaking news, man.
They need a better CBA.
Breaking news, you hear what's going on, man. Your boy got fired today. Obviously, we got Chandler saying what he got to say about it. What say you, sir?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and keep it kind of quick because I know we got to get my boy Black Zach on here to talk as well. AKA
No, we
now
don't.
we go by coach.
No, we don't.
Now we go by coach.
I don't have too much to say
Listen,
about this.
I'm sorry, man. I got to bring back Saved by the Bell, brother. We got to bring back Saved by the Bell here.
Yeah,
I know.
Black Zach don't got too much to say about this. So you go ahead. You cook. You go ahead.
I'm just going to be somewhere in the middle between Larry and Chandler because on one hand, I do understand what Chandler's saying. The as a head coach, you are ultimately responsible for every facet of the game. If your offense and defense are great, but you keep losing on special teams, guess what? That's still on you. That's not on your special teams coordinator. I think the biggest difference right now, I do think Robert Saleh is a fantastic motivator, a leader of men, all those kind of things. I think the biggest difference between D'Amico Ryans and Robert Saleh, who both basically got raised up through the same system, is that D'Amico had better coaches around him when he moved. He had a Bobby Slowick that knew the offense, that knew, he was able to take, our running, one of our wide receiver coaches over there, Hankerson, to kind of help him. Saleh kind of uplifted and went to the Jets and really didn't have a lot, wasn't able to implement and put in place exactly the people that he wanted around him. It was kind of like one of those hiring where it's like you should be happy that you got the job, right? Like it kind of felt like that. Here's what I'll say though. Because multiple things can be true. I do think Robert Saleh has done a hell of a job, despite what Chandler believes. The team was a dumpster fire when he got there. And the defense has been a top 10 defense every year he's been there. He's hired a really good defensive coordinator in Jeff Ulbrich, who I believe, and Chandler, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe is going to take over as interim. He's a hell of a leader.
Yes.
He's a hell of a leader. He is going to provide that calming force. He is going to be a great leader. But the bottom line is you can't here is the scenario I would give you is, Chandler talked earlier about, having somebody, work for you and having to have that autonomy. It's kind of like your boss's boss, his son working for you, right? And the boss's boss has a vested interest in his son doing well. It's like, yeah, you could, write him up. Yeah, you could say, hey, on his performance evaluations, he's not doing well. But it's almost ensuring yourself an early exit. And I really do think that's what happened. I think that the biggest drawback on Robert Saleh is he is not an offensive mind. The same way I would say, Andy Reid's not a defensive mind. Shanahan is not a defensive mind. Like usually you have one area of expertise and you have a network. So you have other people that you can rely on. He didn't have anybody he could rely on inside that building. And that's the way I truly believe. I truly believe he was on an island. He was on his own. There was nobody on the offensive side of the ball that he felt like, because I'm telling you right now, you can't be a defensive coordinator, number one, and number two, come from a Niners, quote unquote, Shanahan system where they run the ball more than anybody else, and you have one of the 3 or 4 best running backs in the league, and you're going to give him the ball between 9 and 12 times a game. That's just ridiculous. And that's something Larry brought up, but it is. It's ridiculous. I don't care if he only gets 3 yards a pop. Keep with it. Your defense keeping you in games. The biggest issue that this team has had so far this year is turnovers. They turn the ball over in really odd situations, whether it's deep in their territory or they turn the ball over when they're inside the 30 and they're already kind of at a point where they're probably going to pick up points. I think Robert Saleh will land on his feet. I think he would absolutely be welcome back in San Francisco if he wants to. But I will tell you this, most of the time when you see a coach get fired in week 4 or 5, it's kind of proverbially like waving the white flag. Like, hey, our season's over. Like, we're basically going for the number 1 pick. We're going to take Shedeur. We're going to take Ewers. We're going to take one of these guys. That is, I don't think what the narrative is here. I really truly believe that they think that Saleh's the problem. And I don't see a scenario in which this offense gets markedly better as long as Hackett and Rodgers continue to run the offense the way they are. It baffles me, and once again, I know Chandler watches every play, but I watch quite a bit of football. It baffles me that you could have a top 5 wide receiver and a top 5 running back, and your offense look that putrid. I mean, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You could stack up their offensive skill players across the NFL, and I would say they're probably top 10, maybe a little high, maybe 12, but they're definitely top half of the league. And if you have a Hall of Fame quarterback, that should be something he can work with. That's what I would say.
Hey, breaking. This is what me and Aaron was talking about yesterday, right? Because we touched on the Jets, right? And like we said, we know Saleh don't have his hand in that, because if you come through Kyle's system, you run the ball before anything. Joe Mason gets about 24, 25 carries a game. If you look at the Rams, Kyron Williams is getting 25 carries a game, period.
Absolutely.
The Dolphins, they literally was down to like they third string running backs, and they still running the ball 25 times a game. Breece Hall and I can't know how you pronounce his name, but his last name
Jalen Allen.
They are trying to do an RBC with them, and they basically getting like 12 carries between the two of them.
Which is
Breece Hall had 9, and the other guy get like 3.
Yeah, I mean, when Lazard is out touching your number one receiver or your running back, it's a problem, right? Yeah. It's Aaron Rodgers kind of doing Aaron Rodgers type things. And you know what? Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe this is just an outsider's perspective, but I just look at the Jets from afar, right? Obviously the Niners played them week 1, but Garrett Wilson is way too talented to not be targeted 8 to 10 times a game. Breece Hall is way too talented to not be targeted 20 times a game. And it's like, until they figure that out on the offense, like I don't know how much markedly better this team's going to be. This defense is already a team, obviously Woody Johnson was pissed that they lost to the Broncos, but remember the Broncos only scored 10 points.
Exactly. The defense is not the problem. The defense isn't the problem, Draken.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, by getting rid of Saleh, like, I don't know how that markedly improves the offense. And maybe that's
it doesn't improve the team
point.
at all. It doesn't improve the team at all, right? Like, that's the point of like, you still have the same problem. You still have an offense that wants to throw the balls too much with a 40-plus-year-old quarterback that can't freaking move. That's the problem with this team, that they don't want to run the ball with two really good running backs.
The bottom line is, here's what I think, and this is just my opinion. I look at the Matt LaFleur system and how they ran that with Malik when he was back there. I've seen other offenses, like, for example, Miami this last week when they had their backup to the back of Huntley in there. I saw Vandy against Alabama and how creative they were bringing out the triple option. What I don't see from the Jets is any creativity. Right. And that's what's killing them right now, is they're so predictable. They run the quick slants because that's what Rodgers likes to throw, unless somebody jumps offside and then they're going deep. But really what the offense lacks is creativity, because they have playmakers. The playmakers isn't the issue. They don't need Devontae. They don't need an aging star that's going to make $30 million a year. What they need to do is start utilizing the talent they actually have there.
Hey, Steve, do they realize that everything they've said is an indictment of the head coach? I don't think they realize that.
Not when your head coach.
No, how is it an indictment of the head coach if the offensive coordinator it's just there? It's just.
I'm sorry, Steve. Do they real? I'm talking to the coach here. Hey, coach.
Coach, go ahead.
Are you going to let your coordinator run your team, or are you going to run your team? I just need to know.
Is it running the team or running the offense? Because
it's running the team. If that's what's causing your team to lose.
Well. When the coordinator has the ear of the quarterback, who has the ear of the guy who's writing the checks, it all kind of undercuts anything that Saleh can try to do. So
Saleh wanted to fire the offensive coordinator that has been a problem. That's averaged less than almost 16 points a game. Yeah. As soon as he brought that topic up, you're fired.
You're fired.
Tell me where that makes sense.
It doesn't, but like Chandler likes to say all the time, it's like it's the Jets doing Jet things. Like, I mean, that's just, it is what it is with the Jets, you know. And I will say this, real quick. Let me slide this back on real quick as the Padres back on the board. Let's see.
He went out of the baseline, right, on that throw.
Of course he did. Of course he did. Yes.
What are you talking about,
yes,
man?
Yes, he did.
What do you mean?
I am watching. Yes. But back to the Jets. Like I said, I don't really have a whole lot to say because you guys have done such a great job covering all. Like I said, the offensive coordinator who has the ear of the quarterback, who has the ear of the owner. It's kind of hard for Saleh to make these decisions. Like, he went in and was like, you know what, we got to get rid of Hackett, and then like Woody Johnson's like, actually, we got to get rid of you, Bobby. You know, like you know, so, you know. But like I said, you guys covered everything else. I like to bring up like things like, I mean, does anybody know what Woody Johnson took a couple years off from running the Jets? Does anybody know what he did in those couple years?
Yeah, he was the ambassador to Ireland, and his brother,
he was ambassador to the United Kingdom.
Right, his brother actually hired Saleh.
What was his game Sunday in the United Kingdom?
Right,
he was embarrassed. You know, Robert Saleh's embarrassed him in front of his peeps. You know, and he didn't take too kind to that. But seriously, like that's what it all comes down to me. You know, it's like you let Aaron Rodgers, and look, I'll say this about Woody Johnson. Woody Johnson, he's in New York. He understands, like, he has to look across the hallway and look at the Giants and look at, it's like, it's just, he has to look at that. He has to look at those Lombardis. He has to look at all the prestige. He has to look at all that. It's like, you can say what you want to about the current Giants. The New York Giants are a bigger deal than the Jets. That is a fact. I hate to break news here, but it's like that's what it is. You know, so Woody Johnson knows he needs to compete with the Giants for football love in New York. So what does he do? I'm gonna go get Aaron Rodgers. That'll do it. People know who Aaron Rodgers is. Look, everybody. It's me trying. You know, it's like superstar. It's like, I feel like it got to the point to where Woody Johnson cared more about selling jerseys and being on TV and all that other stuff than building a good team. You know, and then it's like you bring Aaron Rodgers in, and it's like, Aaron, what do you want? I want Hackett. What do you want? Like, you're letting him do all this. Like you said, it's very NBA like, you know. Yeah. But like on the NBA roster, there's only 12 guys. On a football roster, there's 53. You know, you can kind of let a player say, well, I want this guy, that guy, and that guy on a 12-man roster in a sport like basketball. In a sport like football, you cannot let people dictate the roster makeup, dictate all stuff like that. You can't let a player do that. And I feel like Woody Johnson let Aaron Rodgers do whatever he wants to. He let him come and go as he please. He let him go to Yellowstone Park and smoke crack in the woods, whatever he want to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like, whatever, you know. Like, it's just, because he was so hungry for the attention. It's like he literally just said, well, we'll get Aaron Rodgers and we'll figure it out. Instead of saying, okay, going to the coach and saying, Coach Saleh, what do we need? Okay, I'm going to go get, I don't even think he probably consulted Saleh before going to make this Rodgers deal. He was probably like, here's Aaron Rodgers, make it work.
Yeah, I feel like it was disjointed from the get-go, right? Because look, think about it. What was it? Was it Chandler? Correct me if I'm wrong. It was Wilson's second year. It was a disaster, right? Before Rodgers got their second or third year, it was like, they felt like, oh, we have all the talent, we have all the pieces, we just need a quarterback. Let me get the quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is available. Aaron Rodgers wants to be a Jet. He forced his way to the Jets. Let's not forget. He's like, I plan on being a Jet. Before any trade came off, I plan on being a Jet. That's Aaron Rodgers for you in a nutshell. He made Matt LaFleur look like a freaking idiot. Like, he didn't know what the hell he was doing. Matt LaFleur, 1 year without him, he goes to the playoffs. I mean,
here's the thing. At the end of the day, there's so many people to blame. Like I said, I agree with Chandler to some degree, and it's just like, look. Like I said, it was almost like if Saleh wasn't in the group chat. There was a group chat with Hackett, with Rodgers, and Woody Johnson, and they had a secret group chat without the head coach.
But Steve, Saleh already knew that Woody Johnson wasn't in his corner because Woody Johnson didn't hire Saleh.
Right.
His brother Chris did. So
Exactly.
the
While he
minute that
was
Woody
fouling around in
Johnson,
the UK. Yes,
yeah,
it's like
the minute that Woody Johnson started talking about Aaron Rodgers is when Saleh should have said, "Listen, bro, it's him or me."
Yeah, so Woody Johnson goes away for a couple years, comes back, and he's like, "Well, this isn't my team. You know, I'm gonna do this, do that, and make this my team." You know,
Right.
Woody Johnson gets a lot of he gets a pass from a lot of people, but Woody Johnson, he's no different than Stephen Ross, than Jerry Jones, than Kraft. He wants to be a celebrity. He wants it to all be like, "Oh man, look, you know." But Woody Johnson just kind of low key with it, and it's like I see right through it. You know, because just because he isn't as out front like Kraft, he isn't as loud as Jerry Jones, and like he isn't as flamboyant as Stephen Ross. He still is one of these owners who wants it to be. Look at what I did. Look at me. Look how great I am. You know, so that I'll just leave it at that.
And the funniest thing I heard all day, somebody cracked a joke. They was like, "Well, Woody Johnson is Donald Sterling minus the racism."
I mean, he's kind of in that James Dolan tree to me.
But you know what? I'll say this, and this is my final take on Robert Saleh. And Steve, you gonna feel me on this. I think that Robert Saleh situation is just like DeMeco. Remember when DeMeco got hired? Remember I said the Texans can't do Texan stuff. You can't hire DeMeco and not give him what he wants. You can't have somebody in the front office whispering to the owner, "Oh, we don't like DeMeco's players," or "Oh, this." You can't do that to him. And I think Saleh was in that position where now you got a quarterback, an OC. We don't know. It might have been Douglas in it too. He got all these people whispering stuff behind and undermining his ability to be a good coach. And that's why, remember, Steve, I said that's what I would hate to happen to DeMeco, because the Texans.
I mean, we all know about Pastor Jack. Pastor Jack had McNair's ear, and you know, and it ruined it set the franchise back for years because you know Pastor Jack had McNair's ear. But then DeMeco, I feel like one of the things that he did that gets overlooked is like he was like, "Look, I'm not coming into that. You gotta, if I'm gonna come, and we're changing the culture. That is the thing. It is like DeMeco Ryans has been allowed to change the culture of the Texans, to come in there and things that he learned in San Francisco and along the way, and it's going to bring those things and to change the culture. Larry, you know, it's different in NRG now from years past. Everything's different now. From the banners that are hanging to the concessions to the practices, everything's different now. You know, it was a complete culture change, and that's why the Texans are on a good trajectory, and why the Jets are firing their coach not even 2 full months into the season.
Yeah, I feel like, and we can move off of this. I feel like now the scapegoat has finally gotten let go, right?
Yeah.
But love him or hate him, like I don't think Saleh should have been the coach to start this year. I don't think Joe Douglas deserves to keep his job either. Let's be clear. So those are two guys that should have been tied together, that should have been gone at the same time. So now you got nobody else to blame in New York if you're the Jets. You got nobody else to blame.
Yeah, they do. They're going to blame Joe Douglas next.
Joe Douglas
sniped Robert Saleh, not realizing that he's the next one on the chopping block.
Yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right, Chandler. Always come with the knowledge. I put it out there. I put it on the tee, and he knocked it right the hell off, right? So Joe Douglas will be the next one to go.
When was the last time the Jets was even in the Super Bowl or played in the Super Bowl or close to the Super Bowl? What year was that?
Super Bowl 3.
The year when I was born. I remember that I was born now.
Shout out to Joe Willie Namath. But yeah, I mean, listen, it's going to be fun. We got a 4-0 lead, second inning.
4-1.
4-1.
4-1.
It's Mookie league home. Mookie Betts hit that wall scraper. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
I know, absolutely. They just put up an interesting stat. The team that wins Game 3, wins over 70% of the series in a 5-game series, right? So you got most of these games have been are 1-1. Right, most of these teams are 1-1. The Mets won today, 7-2, at home. A really good game from Mahita. Pitched into the
Mania.
Seven plus.
His struggle.
7+.
He actually he went out there. Winker hit one to
Yeah.
to Manhattan. You know what I'm saying? It was like
the polar bear. It's so funny in New York, and Chandler can fill me on this. Before the playoffs start, everybody killing the polar bear. This will be his last season. He has that great, what was it? The 3-game series. He had that big home run to lift them. He had the home run today. That all Tatis just hit one too. Like, I don't even know where. Jesus, he is on fire in the playoffs right now. But the polar bear, Pete Alonso's hitting well. Unlike my guy in New York, on the other side in the Bronx, Aaron Rodgers, as soon as it turns October, the California kid gets a little cold and his swing gets a little chilly, right?
Judge.
Yeah. Is that what I'm saying? Aaron Judge gets his, he's from California, so when October hits, he goes into hibernation. It's cold out here. I can't deal with this right here. But the Tigers and the Guardians are tied 1-1. I think that's going to be a fun little series. So
that's 5. That's going 5. That's going 5.
There's a lot. There's a lot of really good baseball series going on right now. So I mean, I'll start with you, Coach. Because obviously your team's playing 6-1 now, second inning. Talk to me. What are you liking so far in this MLB playoff?
I'm really liking my Dominican son, my second Dominican son. Of course, Carl Anthony Towns being my other one. My second Dominican son, Fernando Tatis, just hit one to Catalina Island. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so we got that going. You know what? I'm gonna say something, guys. Like I've been gone for a couple weeks, and something happened. Something devastating, something heartbreaking, something that I'm sure this country is still struggling to deal with. The Houston Astros aren't playing October baseball. So that's just something that I know.
God is good. God is good.
And
somebody blur Larry's camera. Somebody blur his.
Yeah, so it's like
I'm eating spaghetti seasoned with your tears.
Yeah, we gotta go like videos in the 90s. You know how they would blur everything out, and
long postseason runs catch up with you eventually.
Yeah, I mean,
here we go.
Look. Like I said, I don't want to open that can of worms. It's like I whatever, but like it is refreshing to be able to watch postseason baseball and not have to wonder about what my team is going to be doing next or how this team might stack up to the other team, whatever like that. But like, I'm going to say something. Like the Mets, we talked about the Mets on this show, like a lot. We probably talked more Mets on this show than a lot of other shows and a lot of other people, stuff like that. And it's like, they have it in them. The Mets have it in them. They do. They really do. And I like the Phillies. I like, it's like when I tell my wife all the time, it must be miserable to have to go into Philadelphia and play a baseball game in October. It looks like nobody's having a good time. Nobody's having a good time when like in Philly. Like the Phillies are barely having a good time. So the other team is definitely not having a good time. But the Mets, like, if they're going to get like defense, we all say offense wins game, defense wins championships. Man, like the defense that the Mets has been playing, if they're going to get solid pitching like that, and it's like, again, we sat here and we wonder, like, what is wrong with the Mets? They have all the pieces to do this, and they weren't. And then like a flip, the switch flipped, and it's like, man, look at the Mets. Dare I say they have been amazing.
Yeah, it was the Buck Showalter hangover, because one of the things we said last season, let these young kids play.
Let them go
put
play.
Them out
Look
there,
at them. They're going out
let
there.
them fail.
Like they are like Manaea, a guy who has been like hamstrung from injuries and just like being in Oakland. That's a big deterrent.
Yeah.
But it's like when you let a young guy like him, just like Sean, go pitch, just go throw the ball, try to hit the catcher's mitt every time. Just go pitch. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about that. Just turn your brain off and go pitch. And then look what happens.
Look at Vientos. Buck would not play these kids. He wouldn't play them.
He wouldn't play these kids because it's like Buck Showalter, and you know this as well as I do. And I think anybody who knows a little bit about baseball knows Buck Showalter thinks he is the smartest man in the room. Any room that he's in, he thinks he is the smartest man in the room. And with a bunch of young, like he refused to play the young kids. People give Terry Collins a lot of grief. Terry Collins let them boys play. He was there. You know, now
Let
I got
him learn
some
on the
experience with
job.
Terry Collins from back in the day when he was with the Astros. He just let them play. But
Yep.
then now I feel like, I don't know. My uncle would probably like tear my head hearing me say all this stuff about the Mets. It's nice stuff about the Mets, you know, you know. But I have to, because it's like the Mets are the team. The Mets and
The Tigers.
I have to say it, Larry. The Tigers. You know what I'm saying? The Mets and the Tigers are the teams that I'm just really watching with closely, because like I just love, like, let these young boys play baseball. Just let them go out there and play. They don't know any better. Like, who cares that it's October? I don't care what the calendar says. Let them just go out there and play baseball. You know?
Look at the Royals. The Royals were a 100-loss team last year. They let these guys play, and they're going to push the Yankees around to 5 games. I feel like. I think the Yankees
should probably be up 0-2. You talking about base running and plays at bases and stuff like that. I don't want to go down that road, but like, yeah.
But they don't know they're not supposed to be here.
They don't know.
That's why I love from the Twins.
But see, you have Salvador Perez. You have Salvador Perez who understands what this is about.
Right.
And he is the perfect captain for this young team. Because when they get too high, he brings them down. When they get too low, he brings them up. He is the perfect guy for that young team. You know, and we talked about like Bobby Witt. Like, this is Bobby Witt becoming a household name.
Yeah,
this is him. Now, he's not having a good series, but he has an opportunity now that this series shifts to Kansas City. So if he can put together a good game or two, it's just like it's exciting. It's like we talk about this all the time. It's like it's October baseball. I'm sad that my team isn't in it, but I love baseball. I don't care. I love baseball in every way, shape, and form. So it's like, again, they're showing this play is gonna get shown 18,000 times. Machado, but like, you know, it's like I'm excited, guys. I'll let you guys like get after it, because it's just like this is just exciting time for me. Because I mean, it's just like this is it, man. We get through it. We muddled through 162 games for what's going on right now, and it's great. You know,
I mean, even if it, you know, like Larry, it's the little things, like seeing Ohtani in the playoffs finally, like his first playoff experience. I think everybody's seen him. They see the highlights, but it's like, being able to see him on a bigger stage is fun, right? I think seeing the Tigers and seeing the Royals come out is fun. I mean, the Mets, I mean, I've said it. I said they're a dangerous team. I said the Padres are a dangerous team. They are.
You did. You called it. Yep.
And I said, you know what, with the Mets, like, look at what they're doing, like aggressive against a really good pitcher, Nola, who's a playoff pitcher too, right? Like It's just fun to watch. Larry, what are you liking about the playoffs so far, and what are you looking for?
I called the Padres too. Remember,
yes,
we looked at the schedule. Remember, we sat here. We was like, whoa.
Yeah, don't say that. And I said, Padres, Tigers. Hey, like that. Hey, look, the worst thing that could have happened to the Dodgers was that they meeting the Padres. The Padres were having a number. Like, that's right. That's the worst thing that could have happened to them. You know, I have no love for Dodger fans. I'm gonna put it like that. You know, and I hope all things bad in life happen to them.
Yeah, they're a bunch of children. They're a bunch of thugs.
Yeah,
thugs. They start fighting each other. They start fighting each other and everybody else. So it's like,
that's what I will say. That's why another reason why I have no respect for the Dodgers, because you know you see these fans fighting in the stands and you know punching ladies in the face and stuff like that. You know, I definitely don't think that. You know, I love sports, but it's not that serious. And it should definitely not be
never that serious.
You know, you see it all the time. Getting out of Dodger Stadium is like, you know, running through Beirut or something. You know, you better get in your car and have it warmed up and running. You know, so I'll see that. But I will say this: the good thing about this postseason, I'm kind of like Steve. My blood pressure's down. My heart rate is normal. You know, my drinking has went down. If you know, I'm not drinking tonight. You know, I'm gonna say that I'm in a much calmer, you know, tranquil place, because Astros will definitely have you, you know, feeling like cardiac kids over here. But with that being said, I will say that I'm liking the fact that it's a lot of balance this postseason.
Yeah,
like you know. And I get it. You know, that first round is the best of 3. You win 2 games and somebody's out of here. But when you get to like best of 5, best of 7 series, and you've seen that a lot of these best of 5 series are actually tied up, they're not 2-0s. That's gonna let you know right now that these are gonna be some good games. And it's gonna get you even more excited, because then when you go to, you know, for the championships, then now you know it's going to be some really good games.
Mhm.
You know, I will say this. Yeah, I'm not feeling too good about y'all Yankees, man. I'm not feeling good about it. You know how you see Homer and Homer goes into the bushes? That is Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is Homer in the bushes.
Yeah.
It's like, man, like you say, postseason starting to air. You think you want to show up to work today, man?
Yeah, right. Nah, I'm good.
Yeah, you know what happened, and you can't even put it all on him because even Soto's not being really, you know, knocking the ball out the park.
Game one, he had a good game.
Game one.
He had a good game.
He had good at bats in game two. And this is why I call a lot of these new Yankee fans stupid because they criticize Stanton all year. Stanton is the one who performs in the postseason by the by.
Every time.
I will say, what it's for me. It's the Tigers. Remember at the beginning of the season we talked about, and I said the Tigers should be challenging for the division title. Now I don't know what the hell was going on in Detroit most of the season.
AJ had to get him right. You know,
once they got rid of some of those veterans, like Flaherty, who's a loser, by the way. Flaherty's a loser. He was a loser in St. Louis. He's a loser. I don't care that older. He started the first game for the Dodgers. Jack Flaherty ain't good when it matters. But they got rid of some of those veterans, and you allowed the kids to play. I was skeptical of the Colt Keith. Yeah, I was skeptical of the Colt Keith thing when they gave him that money, and he hadn't had one at bat.
Right.
Listen, that GM is looking real smart right now.
Yeah.
With that Colt Keith signing, he looking real smart right now because that kid looked like he's a player. Kerry Carpenter, who no one other than his family knew was playing Major League Baseball, okay, gets an opportunity to showcase his skills. I'm telling you, everything. Karen, what are you talking about? Linda? You talking about Karen Carpenter? What? Ain't she dead? Ain't nobody know who the hell Kerry Carpenter was. You know, this dude is showing his skills. AJ Hinch, who, listen, I have issues with him because it wasn't him that was cheating; it was the players. And I've always I wanted the Yankees to hire AJ Hinch once the actual let him go. He is a really good manager. He understands how to let guys be themselves, but also when to hold them accountable and actually say something negative about them when they screw up. You know, rather than just saying, "Oh well," you know, and make excuses for them. The Tigers are going to be a problem.
Yeah,
they are going to be a problem for somebody in the LCS if they get there. They're going to be a problem. I don't see Cleveland getting there simply because I hate both of the Naylor brothers because I think they're both clowns. So I'm rooting against Cleveland. I love Jose Ramirez, but them Naylor brothers, man. Listen, if you told me they both fell down and broke their legs, bro, I might do a little jig, and I can't even get my fat ass out the chair.
Wow.
But you know,
a grand slam to get right back in the game.
And that's the thing with the Dodgers is you got to beat the Dodgers in 9 innings. It ain't gonna be no we get 6 runs in a second and the game's over. The Dodgers are gonna keep coming. Now Dave Roberts is gonna find a way to screw this up because that's what Dave Roberts does. That's why they've only won 1 World Series in the entire time he's been there. And we can
all-star lineup with
I think the
$1 million payroll.
Yeah, if it comes down to a tactical decision, then I mean, Dave Roberts, he's going to make the wrong decision.
Yes, he is.
I think the Dodgers, the problem is they don't have enough pitching. They can hit with anybody. They're going to hit every type of pitching.
But see, Roberts is going to pull a pitcher when he shouldn't every single time, and he's going to leave a guy in when he shouldn't every single time. I mean, we can go back. How many years can we go back when he pulled a pitcher? Like, why'd you pull a pitcher? Well, the numbers said, dude, what are you doing? So I don't trust Dave Roberts. So I want the Padres to win because I just don't. I'm not a Dodger fan, and I don't trust Dave Roberts. And the Phillies Mets thing. Listen, bruh, Robbie Thompson, get ready to get fired, bro. When you don't win this year, they ain't playing in Philly. They gonna blame somebody, and it ain't gonna be Bryce Harper. So
yeah.
But yeah, these playoffs, man, are really. I really like the fact that we getting to see some of these teams: Kansas City, Detroit, Baltimore. Even though they didn't make it, and they got to figure why they can't win home in the postseason. But it's nice to see some of these teams. Now, if we could only get the White Sox to get out their own damn way, you know, maybe we have some good, you know, Central Division teams.
Yeah,
because
the White
I
Sox
don't
are
want to
like
see no
5
World
years
Series game in Detroit, man. Nobody wants to see a World Series game in Detroit.
Oh man,
Hey, you
Good
never know,
Lord.
Ladine, man. You know, we got the 313 out there. So I mean, breaking news. What are you watching right now in the playoffs? Like, what are you looking for? What's caught your eye?
Well, I will tell you, man. I did boycott most of the season because I'm an Angels fan, and I said last year that they should trade Ohtani at the deadline. They didn't
Yep.
trade him and got
Wait,
nothing
break
for
it,
him, and he
break it.
still walked.
Wait,
So-
did you hear about us talking about free Mike Trout all year?
Hey, listen, you know what?
Free Mike Trout.
At this point, you know what? Ohapi's, halfway decent. Neto's decent. They might as well trade them. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
might as well trade those guys because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter as long as Moreno's there. They're always going to be a dumpster
you can't
fire.
fire the owner. You can't
Yeah.
fire the owner. So
They're going to be a dumpster
unfortunately,
fire.
Mhm.
And Ohtani honestly made the best decision he could have made to switch. Unfortunately, I hate to see him in the blue, but he made the best decision for himself because, Mike Trout's been to the postseason one time in his entire career, and yet he's a 4-time MVP, league MVP. Pathetic. So, sorry to get sidetracked here, boys.
No,
I-
Brian, because Brian, you haven't been here for my soliloquies about Mike Trout. Okay, so
Yes.
I'm going to bring you up to speed. It's like Mike Trout loves baseball. You know what he loves more than baseball? The Philadelphia
Winning.
Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles. That man is not going to miss too many Eagles games. So that's why he has no interest in October baseball.
No,
that
he
man's
doesn't.
like, look,
Hey.
he counts how many Eagles games he
Hey.
can make it to. So like,
But-
I'll let you go.
But listen. By the way, one other thing that at least has to be glossed over in your Trout soliloquy is how does a kid from Jersey end up loving the Phillies? I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah,
He's South
Geography,
Jersey. South
geography,
Jersey.
guys.
Well, no,
it's
it's geography.
The part of Jersey he's from is a stone's throw away. You can throw a rock.
Okay,
hit Philly from
Being on the West Coast, see that always kind of struck me off. But here's what I'll say.
Look at a
And-
map.
and
Breaking news. Look at a
I
map.
think
Why don't
I
you
think you
break
guys-
news like
What I was
that?
gonna do to get to Philly from Jersey?
I think what I would say is, like you guys said, there's great parity this year, man. I mean, listen, most years I would say there's one or two teams that you feel like okay, I feel pretty comfortable these two teams versus the field, they're gonna win. I think you could make a compelling argument for any of the teams left that they could potentially win. And Chandler and Larry and even Steve made some great points as far as there's just some really compelling stories here. You know, having a lot of these teams that don't traditionally make the playoffs, like how long has it been since Detroit has mattered? You know, how long has it been since, obviously I know the Royals were there a few years ago, but it's like, how long has it been since the Royals and the Yankees were a thing? You know, it's good to see these teams looking good. And, call me old school, but I'm sorry. It still pains me to see the Cleveland Guardians. They're the Indians. Can we get can we get something going here? Like, I hate that stuff, man. I hate it. They did it to the Redskins. They did it to the Indians.
I mean, they doing the chop in Kansas City. They
No, I
still
know.
do it in Kansas City.
But
No,
I-
the Chiefs, they still do it. They still do it in Tallahassee. It's just like it's 18 people.
that's a
that wanna do
staple.
it.
Yeah.
If you win games, you keep your name. The Chiefs won some Super Bowls. They're gonna keep
Yeah.
your name.
Yeah.
But-
When does Florida State stop doing it, guys?
Well, I guess now because they're pretty awful, but
Mhm.
we haven't
You had
hit
to go
that
there,
yet.
man. You had to go there.
But hey, listen. I would say the story of the postseason is parity. If you were to tell me, like I said, if you were to make a compelling argument, hey, the Mets are going to win it all, or Detroit's going to win it all, or the Royals are going to win it all, I'd say that each one of us could pick a different team, and it would be a realistic argument. Unlike the traditional one or two teams really being, the super teams that you really felt like were in it. I feel like literally anybody could win it. It's a crapshoot. It's a dice roll at this point. And the other thing is too, and I'm sure you guys know this, but just kind of looking at the box scores, because I don't catch every game, unfortunately. It's crazy how lopsided the scores are. one day Cleveland wins 4-0, the next game they lose 4-0. It's like, pitching has been good, but it's either you're on or you're off. And there's been a lot of really, really close games. And I think, like Chandler was saying, I think you're going to see a lot of really, really tight game fives that are going to come down to 8th and 9th inning, and we're going to see some crucial mistakes. This is going to be a postseason we're probably talking about for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to go to football real fast, but I gotta be fair. Aaron Judge, 208 batting average in the playoffs, 178 at bats, at least 70 strikeouts.
Mhm.
70 strikeouts.
I think
He's got 13 home runs, breaking news, but he's got 70 strikeouts.
Listen, I was reading something earlier today, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong. I think his slug percentage is 143.
That's because he is. If you watch his at bats,
Mhm.
that hip is gone as soon as the pitcher winds up. That hip is gone. Okay, he is trying so hard to pull that hip, the pitcher, the arm move. There it go. Now he's swinging like this. So
Yeah.
all you had to do was watch his first at bat yesterday. He threw him 3 balls that were damn near below his ankles.
Yep.
Okay, and all I saw, all I saw was a U. I saw a U of his bat stroke was a U. All right,
Yeah.
which tells me that your hip is gone. All you trying to do is hit home runs. He looks like A-Rod until 2009 when A-Rod finally said, "To hell with it. I'm just gonna relax." And what happens happens.
That's when that.
But he looks like A-Rod in the playoffs.
No,
Yeah,
but you know what?
yeah.
That actually makes sense. Like the bad A-Rod. Like I would actually take it a step further. He kind of reminds me of, you guys remember the cat on the Dodgers from like 4 years ago? I think it was Bellinger that like
Cody Bellinger,
legitimately
Cody Bellinger.
got into the playoffs and like legitimately could not hit a curveball.
Yep.
Like just looked ridiculous trying to swing it. Like if I was to like swing at a curveball, and hadn't swung a bat in 20 years, it looks that uncomfortable and that bad. And it's like, I know he's a star player, but then the question becomes, hey, if this series gets tight and Soto is playing pretty well, as you guys know, Stanton is always clutch, do you consider moving him down? Do you consider
They won't.
moving him to the 6th, 7th,
They
or
won't.
8th spot?
No.
You can't move them down, but at this point, you have to start telling yourself, you know what? There's a lot better pitching in the playoffs than there is in the regular season.
Yep.
Yeah.
And let me say something. Let me say something real quick while it's on my mind. R.I.P. to Pete Rose. One of the
Yes.
greatest hitters of all time.
Yeah, don't
Charlie
trigger
Russell.
Larry, because Larry got my mother mad as hell last week. All that cussing he did. So don't trigger.
So
Larry.
here's the thing. I'm not gonna cuss. I'm just gonna like Pete Rose. He always said he was like, guys. He said, whatever you do, don't change your swing.
Change your swing.
Your
Absolutely.
swing got you to the majors, and
Yeah.
I feel like Aaron Judge is changing his swing.
Yeah.
And Pete Rose always said, "What do? You can do a handful of things. You can move up in the box. You can move back in the box. You can move closer to the plate. You can move away from the plate. You can choke up on the bat. These are things that you can do, but don't change your swing." And I feel like
that's
Aaron
he's
Judge
pressing.
changes
He's
his
pressing,
swing.
coach.
Well,
He's pressing.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
pressing.
What Chandler said really hit the nail on the head. It, like you guys are saying, he's pressing, but the swing doesn't even look comfortable at this point.
Right. Right.
There's such a big gap and such a big hole in the swing that it's like, I understand he's a superstar, and like you guys are saying, no, there's no way. But I'm telling you right now, if he continues this next game, can the Yankees really afford to lose to the Royals in this type of fashion with their superstar? I think you at least have to consider doing what's best for the team, because this is going to be a dogfight.
Brian
That
Cashman
would
is
be
not going to let that
disgraceful.
happen.
You cannot make a move like that. This
You
is
can't
not the
do it.
middle of July, the dog days, whatever. You cannot make a move like that in October. You just
No,
And you know what?
You can't.
The Dodgers said the same thing, and guess what? They lost.
Yeah, but you're gonna bench your captain.
No.
The guy that's about to be
I'm
the
not.
MVP.
I'm not saying bench him. What I'm saying is the other guys at the top of the order are hitting. He is literally a dead spot, and he literally just you might as well just count it as an automatic out. I mean, I'm just being honest.
Having him behind Soto protects Soto.
Yeah, he's not protecting nobody at this point. You're telling me really right now they're going to pitch to Soto because they're afraid of Judge?
But
the problem is that Aaron Boone is never going to do that. And this is when I talked about the AJ Hinch being a manager who will protect his players, but when they're wrong, say they're wrong. Aaron Boone will never criticize a player. He will never, what he considers embarrass a player. Well, other than Jason Dominguez, but I'm not going to get into that.
Dominguez can't field.
Dominguez can field if you put him in center field because he's a center fielder. But that's all. Again, I'm not getting into that.
Let's not get into the Jason Dominguez. We got all women to talk about Jason.
Yeah, we ain't getting into that.
Let's not get into that right now.
Aaron Boone is not going to do it, and Brian Cashman is not going to let him do it because Brian Cashman would rather lose saying I'm right than win by admitting he was wrong about something.
I don't want to go that far because we can shift to football, but here's the deal. Coach brings up the right point about Pete Rose saying don't change what got you there. You can't change the lineup that got you to the playoffs, right? You got to keep it the same, and you got to figure it out. He's one of the, if not the best player, arguably in the league. He's got to figure it out.
He's got to figure it out. You got to let a guy like Judge figure it out.
A-Rod did it, right? A-Rod did it.
It took him a while, but eventually he did. Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
So.
Yeah, but here's the problem with that thought process or the logic. I'm not saying you boys are wrong. All I'm saying is now they're going on the road, right? And he wasn't able to hit well at home. I don't necessarily know that, maybe people could say, hey, there's less pressure or whatever. I don't know that it necessarily like that swing just magically comes back. It looks labored. It looks like he's struggling. And maybe it could be presented in a way that, hey, let's take a little pressure off you so you can get back in your groove. I'm just telling you, if put it this way, if Aaron Judge does not figure this out, they're not going to win. I'm telling you right now. He continues to do this, they're not going to win.
The Yankees have played better on the road than they have at Yankee Stadium all season. That's why I don't mind them going on the road. Pretty much everybody in the lineup except for him hits better on the road. I don't know what. This has been a weird year. This has been a weird year for them. Like they suck against lefties, and the majority of batters in their lineup are right-handed. Right. But they've sucked against lefties. They played far better on the road, like almost 15 games better on the road versus their home record. So in reality, them going on the road is a benefit that people don't realize.
Well, they do have to face Seth Lugo.
That's what you took the words right out of my mouth. It's like, well, you better. I hope that holds true because tomorrow night in Kansas City, they got to face arguably the Cy Young Award winner.
And has Seth Lugo pitched in the playoffs before?
We'll see.
There you go.
Yes.
Hey, when?
I mean, Ubu hadn't pitched in the playoffs before either, and he had no problem. You know what I'm saying? And that was on the road.
Cool.
So it's like I feel like again we talked about like letting the kids play. It's like I don't feel like that has anything. I think he's gonna go out there and I feel like he could go out there and mow them down, or like you said, he could the lights could be too bright for him. But I think I'm looking forward to that game. I think I haven't looked forward to a game more than this one, like in the whole playoffs. I'm looking forward to this game because it's like, will the young Royals keep that momentum going home? It's weird for the young team to be going home. So like
but they did their job. They got the split on the road. They're going back to Kansas City. They got their best pitcher pitching game 3. Yeah, Chandler's right. He's technically he has one playoff start, the 3-game series. So we'll see how that works out. But
and I'm saying the same thing about Clark Schmidt because Clark Schmidt gets so amped up that he's either going to be really good or he's going to get blown out in the first inning.
And this is that pick. Aaron Boone picked Schmidt over
Heel.
Stroman and Heald. Well, he picked him over Heel in game 3, but he picked him over Stroman to be in the to be on the roster, and he picked him over Cortez. So we'll see how this.
And that was the problem because once Rodon gave up that home run to Perez. If you had Stroman on the roster, I would have brought Stroman in right there because Perez owns Rodon, and Rodon has a habit of when somebody that has always gotten him gets him, he gets in his head. And you can see his body language, you can see his face. He couldn't let it go.
He started
And-
overthrowing the fastball, and he
Because
couldn't
he couldn't let it
find
go.
the weight. Yeah.
He couldn't let it go.
So
Yeah, this is gonna be a really good dude. Like it's like
Yeah, I
everybody
can't
keeps
wait.
saying, these games are gonna be so good.
I love it. I love high leverage baseball in the playoffs. Every pitch counts. Every pitch matters. It's a science. It's a chess match. I'm here for it. But you're rocking with the boardroom in the boardroom meeting with myself, the villain, breaking news, LG, the legend, Unc Chandler in the building, coach taking. He's got a very busy schedule, people. You know, he's still in the middle of his football season in college football, but he's rocking with us today. I love that.
I don't see the problem with the Yankees, to be honest with you, because it's like typical Yankees. I mean, this is Aaron Judge's October swing to me. I mean, I'm
literally doing a pivot from
baseball.
I want to say what I'm going to say.
LG wants to interrupt the villain.
No, I was over here being quiet the whole time. I'm waiting on this Yankees.
I have more bad things to say about the Yankees.
Like the Homer Simpson comment should have got you over in full. Because that was what you got.
I was trying to fit it in. And I'm going to tell y'all, just like y'all said about my Astros, I'm waiting on this epic Yankees failure. I'm hoping the Royals sweep these next two games and knock them out the playoffs. That's what I'm waiting on. It wouldn't be October baseball without a Yankees epic failure. And that's what I'm waiting on. Now we can pivot. Now we can
legend LG is his solely and his alone. Nobody
I'm sorry. Are the 49ers 2-3? Why, yes, they are. Did they just lose to the Cardinals? Why, yes. Man, listen, you got so many tears seasoning my spaghetti, Larry, that ain't funny.
Says the Jets fan over here. Yeah, brother.
It's getting personal. All right.
Says the Jets fan.
Hey. The Patriots are going to start May. Let's move on to football. The Patriots are going to start May.
Yeah.
Let's talk some football.
Mm-hmm. But no, we got to talk some football. We did talk a little NFL, but we definitely want to get back to in a football state of mind. Week 6 in college football came and went. 4 of the top 10 teams in the college football took an L, and a couple other top 25 teams took. I think it was 6 in total. Top 25 teams got upset. The big upset, obviously, was Alabama losing on the road to Vanderbilt when Coach Saban said, no, you know, one of the easiest places to play or what have you in the SEC wasn't Vanderbilt or something like that, something to that effect. Florida State lost, but yeah. Other than that, Tennessee took an L.
What else is new?
You know? Yeah. I know exactly right. Tennessee took an L. I mean, Sirius's team they won against UCLA. UCLA is boo boo.
Boy, but Penn State is just skating by, man. Boy, I
mean, it's so funny though. It's like 4 of the top 10 teams lost. One of them should have lost. They squeaked by Miami in a really late game. I'm sure Unc, you watched the whole game, right? Did you watch the whole Miami California game?
No, of course
I did. I did. Yeah. I would have been almost 2 a.m. my time.
but yeah, Miami squeaked by California. Missouri, we don't believe you. You need more people.
I've sat on this show from beginning of the season to now. I'm like, Mizzou is a bunch of frauds, and the fact that they got beat by another group of frauds at A&M shows how big a fraud Mizzou is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go talk about it. Any breaking news? If you want to hit, go ahead. Let's talk about it. Missouri is a fraud, but anybody you want to talk about, let's go for it.
I mean, listen, I'm not going to make any friends here, but I'm just going to tell you, like, you could call it parity. I don't think there's a dominant football team this year. They're just not. I thought Georgia was that team. They lost Alabama. I could get over that. They looked very pedestrian versus Auburn. Then you look at Alabama, and it looked like that was the first time they'd ever seen the triple option. Vandy's got a 5'3" quarterback, and he looked like Doug Flutie out there. Like, I watched every play of that game, and they were literally it looked like a symphony. The way that, you know, he was orchestrating the offense, pitching the ball inside and outside and running around, and it, like, quite literally, Alabama could not figure out that offense. It
And we're getting
literally
pushed around.
they were absolutely getting pushed around, and it was something that if you're an Alabama fan, you probably have not seen anytime recently. Because, like you said, it's one thing to lose; it's another thing to lose like that, right? Because they made the score really, honestly, look better than it was.
Yeah,
right? It's just like
yeah.
yeah, and then the other one is just talking about the frauds, and he already hit it, but the Mizzou Texas A&M, yeah, it's 41-10, but let's not discount the fact that within the last 30 seconds they scored a touchdown. Mizzou, that game was 41-3. They were getting waxed 28-0 at halftime. I literally thought, I was like, they might beat them 60-0. Like it didn't look like Mizzou, like they got off the bus, they showed up. I'm not sure if they knew where their pads were. That was quite possibly the worst performance I've ever seen by a top 10 team versus another top 25 team. Like, if nothing else, like you could say, hey, they overlooked Vandy. Like, you're going up against another top 25 team and you just completely lay an egg like that. Like, that one was also painful. And then you guys mentioned the Miami, California. I mean, dicey. I've said this multiple times. Miami can score with anybody, but that defense is suspect. And at one point, California was up by 3 scores, and the only reason they won is because their defense is more suspect than Miami's. I mean, just plain and simple, because nobody was stopping anybody in that game.
Right.
Yeah. Does anybody know what targeting is anymore?
Yeah, I do. That was targeting, bro.
Does anybody know what targeting is? I mean, I don't know. Like,
Do they call it when they feel like it?
And I'm like, well, every week they try to tell me what targeting is, and I'm like, oh, I'm like the Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, I'm like, ooh, targeting. There it is. There's targeting. No, that's not targeting. Okay, fine. All right, cool. Whatever. But
No.
I don't know. Like, just here's something to talk about, guys. Army is blowing people out.
So is Navy.
They're not
So
just
is
like
Navy.
they're not just like kind of hanging on, whatever like that. Because we talked about the triple option earlier. Like, Army is blowing people out. They're kicking people's ass, and I love.
And it's not just running. It's not just running like
the ball.
Like in the past.
Right.
Like in the past, Army and Navy, if they didn't run the ball well, they couldn't win. Like, they actually passed the ball.
They actually passed the ball too. Like, and here's the thing. Here's something that's exciting, guys, and here's something that I would love to see. We all get at least one Army Navy game a year. This year we might get 2.
Yeah,
we might get 2 Army Navy games this year.
Yeah,
which would be insane, because one of those games is we might finally get a Army Navy game in West Point or Army Navy game in Annapolis. I look, that makes my hair on my arm stand up thinking about that, because that would just be amazing.
Yeah. And listen, one of them, I mean, if unless Boise State lays an egg, which is possible because it's Boise State, but I love Boise State because that kid Genty is the truth.
He's playing the game on freshman mode.
Listen,
he needs to bump the difficulty, because they like 13-186 is a good game. He did 8.5.
Yeah,
exactly. 35 points in the second quarter. Make it make sense.
We could get Army or Navy in the playoff. Okay, and it's possible, but I think it's going to wind up being Boise State. But it's possible that we could get one of them in the playoff. We talked, and Steve, me and you went out about it. A lot of these teams they had in the top 10, which I hate that preseason top 10. I'm like, none of them should be there, and all of them are losing. Arkansas is a team that I think is underachieved, because Arkansas could easily be 4-1 right now, except for, and I'm gonna say it bad as, listen, I like Sam Pittman as a builder of a program. Like, he can take you to a certain point, but then you got to move off of him and get somebody else in there, because he can't take you over the top. You know what I'm saying? That team is losing too many games they should be winning, and I'm leaning at the feet of the head coach. Now, the smart thing he did was he brought in Bobby Petrino. And listen, if Bobby Petrino could just keep his stuff together, okay, he should be the next coach at one of them Florida schools. But we know he gonna get to a big time program, and Bobby Petrino is gonna turn into Bobby Petrino.
He got to stay off the motorbike. He stay off the motorbike, he'll be fine. You know, it's just that's all Bobby Petrino's problem is. It's like, you know, I love what you say about Sam Pittman. It's like he has these times where it's like he keeps it together, and then every once in a while he's like, "Woo, pig suey," you know, and totally just goes crazy and just like let's do this. You know, I don't know why he does that. It's crazy to me.
Let me ask you boys a serious question. Because I've kind of noticed this with college football the last couple of years with the NIL money, right? Because you'll see like, you know, upper echelon talent now willing to transfer to, you know, what we would consider back in the day, like mid-level or mid-tier schools.
Mhm.
Do you think like I got to tell you, man, like looking at schools like Indiana, Jacksonville State, like some of these, like, I don't know. I got to tell you, right now, you look at Indiana, they've scored at least 41 in every single game.
Yep.
And their offense literally looks like a juggernaut. Jacksonville State put up 70 on Mac Brown. And granted, I'm not saying North Carolina is like a juggernaut, but my point being is, like, at some point, like we're gonna have to take inventory of these quote unquote mid-tier schools. And you know what? The one benefit of having a 12-team playoff, you might get one or two of these teams in there that are hungry, and this gives them an opportunity. And when it was a 4-team, they would have never even sniffed it, even if they went 12-0.
Yeah. Well, there are no mid-tier teams anymore.
Team because they're undefeated.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's undefeated Indiana to you, sir.
Yeah, exactly. But they still got to play Michigan State. They got to play Michigan.
Michigan State to win. Michigan's to win. Michigan's to win.
They got to play Ohio. They got to play Ohio State.
Yeah, one loss.
I think Washington is going to be a good test for them 2 weeks from now.
At home, it's going to be a tough game. It's not going to be an easy game. Washington's 4-2.
It'll be a good litmus test for them. But they've been you know, the thing that I've really liked about Indiana, just like watching them boys, they've been good at home, on the road. Like the offense travels. Well, the offense is traveling.
But you said mid-tier teams. There are no more mid-tier teams because a lot of these teams, there's money. Take Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of oil money in Arkansas. It's a lot of rich cats in Arkansas. Okay,
it's a lot of chicken money.
So chicken money, yeah. So that NIL, now you can go get some of them kids. So some of these teams, Indiana, listen, quiet as kept. It's some rich folks in Indiana, bro. All right, there's some people with some dough in Indiana. So now, if all I have to do is pay this 4-star or 5-star to come here, right? And I can pay more than you. Come on, listen, ain't no mid-tier no more. It's about
listen.
It's funny because you were mentioning Jacksonville State earlier, and I like what Jacksonville State is doing, but I think you were actually referring to James Madison.
Yeah,
and
I'm sorry,
James
Madison.
Yeah,
James Madison again. Old coach gonna pull out the map. James Madison is in Virginia, which if you know anything about Virginia, tons of talent in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, how can a team like JMU build this so-called, you know, good team? Because if they can just get some, like, they're not going to get the 5-star Virginia DMV kids, but they can get a bunch of the 3-star kids and 1 or 2 of the 4-star kids, and then with the NIL money, you coach them up, and then that's why you have a JMU. And again, it's like you talk about like Gonzaga. Gonzaga's joining the Pac-12 basketball only. Man, look, take this Pac-12 money. Man, I would love the opportunity in this day and age. Give me that Pac-12 money with NIL and transfer portal. If I was Gonzaga, I'd be like, man, let's start a football team.
Yes.
let's do
it. Well, that's what I was just.
Go ahead, Ricky.
No, I was just gonna say that's what I was thinking earlier when we were talking about Indiana. It's like for years and years and years, the only thing you ever heard about was basketball.
Yep.
You know, they didn't even care about their football team, but who knew? Like I said, I've watched 2 of their games this year, and both times I was very impressed. So I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, like I said, some of these, you know, these kind of quote unquote rising teams. I won't say mid-tier as Chandler mentioned, but you know, even as Chandler mentioned, like with Arkansas, what they did to a Tennessee team that's put 40 on everybody to hold them to 14 is pretty incredible. And to make that young quarterback look lost. I mean, that last drive, deer in the headlights, he was lost. I mean, think about this for a second. I don't know exactly how much time there was left, but I think there was about 30 seconds left, and he's trying to run the ball because he don't even know what's going on the back end. He's just trying. I'm just trying to get out of bounds, save some time. Like, I mean, they've really done an incredible job. A lot of these, there's a lot. I feel like there's a lot more quality coaching and with the NIL money, a lot more level playing field. So you're starting to see some of these programs really start to push your Alabamas, your Georgias, your bigger schools. And over the course of the next couple of years, I think it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
And look at the team that's starting to make a comeback. It's SMU. 5-1 right now.
But see, SMU, and Larry knows this, and I want Larry to get in on this. Man, look,
I'm waiting for Larry to get in.
SMU has been patiently waiting.
Yep.
SMU, the actual school, Larry knows this. Highland Park, it is one of the richest neighborhoods in the country, not just in Texas. There are more millionaires that live in Highland Park than just about anywhere in America. They have been patiently waiting. The ACC was like, hey, you guys got to pay us like $75 million to join. They was like, oh, you want that in small unmarked bills? You want to? How you want this money? You know, oh, that's it. That's all you want.
Please don't take my pocket money.
Yeah. Like, oh, no. You know. Yeah. It's like, oh no, we're gonna have to spend 2 weeks in Aspen instead of a month this year. Sorry, kids. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no. So it's like, it's like, but then you have teams like Purdue. Purdue needs to be relegated to like the Sun Belt or something like that. I don't know.
Florida State needs to be relegated for sure.
Florida State. Michigan.
Hey, listen, not for nothing, but listen, we're talking about SMU. What did they beat Florida State by? Was like 30. Like SMU won by like 30 points.
It was a lot, but I mean, it's like, you know, it's things like Pitt. Pitt is 5-0.
Yes.
You know, Pitt's 5-0. Let's give it up. I mean, from where I'm sitting, I'm 15 minutes away from Pitt campus. Like, let's go Pitt 5-0. Like, who would have thought?
It's funny. A lot of these teams that are hanging around in the top 25 are like 2-loss teams, and you got Pitt, you got like Indiana, you got SMU. Well, Indiana's ranked, but SMU isn't ranked. Like, these teams need to be ranked. They need to put some respect. Arkansas.
Well, Pitt finally got in. I think Pitt's 22 now. Finally, they got in.
Maybe
you know, and they're only in because I think UNLV lost. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, and here's a crazy thing. Here's a crazy thing with Army. Like, we're talking about how good the offense looks. Their defense has given up less than 10 points a game. Like, ain't nobody scoring on them. Like, their defense is legitimate. Like they're not like, you know, it's one thing to be 5-0, but you know, you've scored 120 and gave up 119. Like, no, like they've scored like 200 and given up like 45 or something crazy. And you know, like Chandler mentioned, Navy as well. And as this season continues, I love the fact that the armed forces, you know, even if it's only one rep, I would love to see them represented in the playoffs, man. I just think that's so cool.
I think Army and Navy, again, we talk about NIL, Army and Navy might be like, look, just between you and me, we can give you some extra in the signing bonus, man.
Yeah,
and it's like, look, we'll give you the Charger, we'll give you the Camaro that you're gonna buy anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, let's just go ahead and just, you know, but now like love that the service academies are doing work, you know.
Absolutely. LG, I haven't heard from you, man. Talk to me real quick, and then I want to look at this.
I've been over here stewing. And
I know.
I'm letting everybody else get their work in. You know, once I get to talking, man, I get to talking. I will say this, Steve, not only do I think that SMU is making some moves, but I think SMU, they got like a 30-year vendetta against the NCAA.
I said they've been waiting.
They're coming for everybody.
They've been stacking money probably 40 years over here. Like, oh, what?
No, SMU is like the Undertaker in the Buried Alive match. Their hands coming through the dirt. It's a handful of ones. And then it's hundreds, you know, coming through that dirt, and it's like here come the ponies.
When you like you said about Virginia, getting Virginia talent, you got plethora of talent in Texas. You know, Texas, our 3 stars are like 4 and 5 stars in other places. You know, they only a 4-star, 3-star because it was 20 other good brothers ahead of them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, especially in the Metroplex.
Yeah.
You know how the Metroplex get down, Larry.
Yeah,
especially
like I say, man, I wouldn't be surprised if SMU be like, "Hey, this is the first $100 million NIL deal over here." You know, I wouldn't even be surprised. But I think they definitely got a vendetta against the NCAA, and they're like, "What? You can pay players now? Wait,
we invented that. We invented
right.
that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They're like, you mean it's legal, right?
They're like, wait a minute. I feel like if I think back on history, there was something that happened in SMU history where like we got in trouble for something like this.
So we can return Eric Dickinson's Corvette. You know, we can
right.
You know, hey, I'm just saying, you know, but yeah, like I say, SMU, I think
they were just ahead of their time, Larry. That's all it was. They were ahead of their time.
They were, they the ones who laid the foundation. But I'll say this, right? I'm a big movie person. The best thing that I saw this whole weekend, you ever seen Pearl Harbor? And the guy was like, yeah, when they hit us with a sledgehammer. But when we hit them back, it's going to be like a pinprick, but it's going to be right through their heart. Vanderbilt can literally hit them with their pinprick through their heart. They were literally taking the goalpost and putting it in the river.
Yeah.
Anybody been to Nashville before? That's not a short trip from the stadium to the river.
That's like
if anybody's been to Nashville before, that goalposts aren't light, and they carried that thing a long way.
Yes,
and didn't damage no property along the way.
No,
amen.
Yeah.
And set it down nice and easily into the river. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, it can be brought up at any time. Like I said, they can literally sit. It's gonna be 40 years later. And they're gonna be up here, yeah. But you remember when y'all was ranked number 1 and we beat y'all, stadium? Yep. You know, it's like that pinprick that they stuck right through Alabama's heart. So that was one of the best things that I saw over the weekend. Oh my god, you know, like y'all talking about that Miami game. I stayed up to because it was just. I had a feeling. I was like, yeah, Miami. We talked about this before. The second halves, Miami.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? Let me just stay up. Then I was like, Cam just threw a touchdown. Another touchdown. It's another field goal. Let me stay
Cal fumble, Miami ball. It's like,
I was like, let me stay my butt up. You know, Cam is definitely doing some Cam things. I will say this. You know how we talked about these fraud teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Steve, I'm gonna go there.
Don't.
I got to, man.
I'm already nervous enough.
We talked about
to the game. Don't do that.
We talked about how bad A&M look. What is A&M doing right now? They just we talked about Clemson, fraud team. Clemson, they just put up 59 the week before. They just beat Florida State. They winning games. You know who's another fraud team that we talked about? And I lost I lost one of the confidence picks on them. I lost 2 confidence picks on them. Oklahoma.
Well, they about to get beat up this week.
No, don't you put that evil.
Hey.
The Oklahoma Sooners are a fantastic team. They're good, clean boys. They play football the right way. Don't say nothing.
Good, clean
boys. Good, clean boys. They go to church. They say their prayers. They eat their vitamins. They are good boys.
You talking about the high school teams?
Mm-hmm.
The high school teams.
Hey, we'll find out this weekend, man. Are they frauds or they got?
They're always frauds, man.
But who are they playing?
I'm not trying to, y'all. Please, y'all. I'm not trying to talk about this game, guys.
Y'all talk about the number 1 team in the country.
I do not know what this game does to my psyche.
They gonna play Georgia.
This game is going to affect my psyche for a whole year. Okay, please, guys.
Well, you know how the wise guys feel. They got Texas as 14-point favorites.
Again, these are things that I know, Brian.
Oklahoma's going to beat
Texas. That I'm trying to talk about. Larry, talk about.
It needs to be an even line on that.
You see what Unc said, right?
Oklahoma's going to beat Texas.
It needs to be an even line on that game. You know, we don't.
There we go.
Hey, by the way,
because Oklahoma always beats us.
We don't
People don't know. I know this because people like, oh, Oklahoma always beats us.
Mhm.
It's like we beat them every couple years, whatever like that. Whatever happens, it's like
Every leap year or something. I don't know.
it's like leap year. Like leap year, we beat them, and then it's like, and that's it. But it's like
We got to wait another 6 years on this. Or something.
lost one game in the regular season last year. Who was it to?
Yeah. Now I will. You know what? The good thing that I did like about like I say out of this whole weekend, there was some really good games, but I did like the fact I hate this ranking system, right?
Yeah.
Expanded the playoffs, right? Because like I say, you got these teams that are like undefeated in rank. I do like the fact that Alabama lost that game and they dropped them so far in the rank.
They did.
Yeah.
Typically, they don't do that. Alabama could lose a game and it could have been to, I don't know, some ass team or something like that.
Because they don't typically lose to an ass team, right, Larry? They usually lose to like LSU or Alabama.
They've
or
lost.
Auburn.
They've laid a couple of eggs here and there, but if they normally
State.
lose, normally they only lose they only drop like 2 spots. But I think they dropped them down to like 9 or something.
There's 7, I think. They dropped to 7, which is still from 1 to 7 is pretty significant because other teams lost. Michigan lost.
Okay, but
like if Michigan would have won, Michigan would have probably it's just like because it was just a nasty week for the top 10 teams. So
yeah.
Here's the issue I have with the ranking system. It's like, number one, I feel like they shouldn't have college rankings for the first 5 weeks, right? Like, let everybody play, let it figure it out. But like, how do you have Alabama at 7 and you have Georgia at 5 when 2 weeks ago Alabama beat them? Like, literally
it doesn't make
sense.
Doesn't make sense.
And Auburn, and they didn't look super impressive beating Auburn, and Auburn's not a great team to boot. So like, some of the rankings are a little tough for me. Tennessee losing. Like I said, only dropping to 8. That's another one I think could have dropped further. But I mean, we're gonna get a lot of clarity. We're gonna get a lot of clarity here in the next couple of weeks because you're gonna start seeing a lot of these top 25 teams playing against each other.
Oregon and Ohio State playing Saturday. I don't know nothing about Ohio State.
I don't know. I don't know anything about Oregon either. I don't know
anything about Ohio State. We'll finally.
They got a couple of good young wide receivers. Listen. Actually, the quarterback is playing. He's playing well.
Yeah, Howard's playing well. I liked him since he was at Kansas State. So I mean, I like him.
Oregon is always going to do Oregon things.
Yeah, I don't believe Oregon either. Right? Yeah. Like, do you really think Oregon's that good to be like number 3 in the country?
No, and me and Larry, not Larry, me and Steve, before the year even started, we were going on about that. I don't believe in Oregon. I've never believed in Oregon, not in the Big Ten, not when it comes time for them to play the real Big Ten teams. They've been playing some Big Ten teams that are sort of in the sort of the I would say the bottom Big Ten teams. They're about to start playing the big boys, and we're about to see because I don't think give Dan Lanning 2 seasons, and he will have built Oregon into a Big Ten team because he can recruit. I don't think his team is built for the Big Ten this year. Not when it comes down to really playing, the top Big Ten teams. Now, I don't. Now, like Penn State, I expect Penn State to go ahead and James Franklin to do James Franklin things and lose games he ain't supposed to damn lose at the worst possible time because that's what James Franklin does. That's what he does. Right. But the ranking system makes no sense. You got Army, Navy, Colorado is 2-0 in the Big 12. In case anybody had noticed.
Yeah, and they're not ranked. Colorado's the fact that they're 4-1 and not ranked is ridiculous. But they're gonna get if they beat Kansas State at home, they're gonna get ranked. But you know
they're gonna beat them too.
I think they're gonna beat them too.
That's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a tight game.
It's gonna be another late night for everybody too. Yep. That game don't kick off until like 10:15 East Canada time. So
but you know what game I'm watching? That's really an important game this week. Ole Miss and LSU, because the team that loses that game is not getting into the playoff.
That's Lane Kiffin, right? That's Lane Kiffin, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Lane Kiffin about to give. Lane Kiffin about to spit the bit.
Arizona T could be on the line in Baton Rouge Saturday.
I know.
But it's a 9-13 matchup, 2 1-loss teams. I feel like if they lose that game, they're not going to whoever loses that game is not going to be able to get into the conference championship no way. And it's going to be a real hard case, a 2-loss team for them to get into
Yeah,
the playoffs.
and which coach both of those coaches can't be trusted? Which of the two coaches you don't trust can you trust in that game?
Yeah.
Ryan
Yeah.
Kelly,
It's not even
Lane
who
Kiffin.
you trust, right? It's who do you trust the least?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say this, y'all. If we're looking at right now,
Mhm.
one of the two of them teams will probably get in with 2 losses. We look at the ranking. Like I'm kind of like Barry. I've never been a fan of the ranking because it's always SEC bias.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the bowl games, I think it's been like 3 seasons since they've had a winning record in bowl games
Mhm.
Yep.
against non-SEC teams.
Mm-hmm.
It's been the Big Ten. The Big Ten has been the best bowl conference for the
Yeah.
last couple of years. Quiet as kept.
Yeah.
So it's like
But because of the
Big
way the
Ten,
rankings
Mountain
are,
West.
in the Mountain West. Mm-hmm.
yeah, but because of the way the rankings are, I think they maybe a SEC team with 2 losses will sneak in.
Mm.
It's gonna be a Florida State.
Yeah, but see, like, but what I'm looking at is like, look at LSU. If LSU loses this game, that's 2 losses. They still got to play Texas A&M. They still got to play Alabama. Florida's on the road. It's not going to be an easy place to play, and they still got to play Oklahoma. You tell me if they can.
Right now, do Iowa State get in? Because Iowa State's ranked number 11 right now. Do Iowa State get in over a 2-loss SEC team?
No, because Iowa State's going to lose 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
No, because Iowa State's not even going to win the Big 12.
No, I'm saying,
so it's like, I mean, they would have to win the Big 12 in order to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got Colorado, they got Utah, they got
Colorado's not even ranked.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
yeah, they will be. They should. They should. Be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if Colorado's not even ranked, do you put in a unranked Colorado team?
No, but see, I think with the committee, I think so right now we're dealing with the AP and the coaches.
Yeah.
I feel like when the committee gets together and has to I think it's going to be separate from. Now they use the AP and the media poll as a, as a resource is the word I'm looking for. But then the committee is just committee. They get together and they say they will say who are the 12 teams to make the playoff. It's not like the BCS where we're going to just use the top 12 teams. It's like that's what the committee is. This is why Florida State did not make the playoff last year because some people got into a hotel room and was like, you know what, we don't think that Florida State deserves to make the playoff. So I feel like, and I'm looking at the schedule now. It's like we talk about Ole Miss and LSU. Ole Miss still has Oklahoma, Arkansas, in Fayetteville. Which I bet like that's not an easy place to go and play. Not easy. That's a tough. Look, they start doing that pick call and stuff like that. It gets crazy down there. They still got to play Georgia. Florida is a win. Mississippi State is probably a win. So I mean, it's like they still have. Look, if we want to call Oklahoma frauds, fine. I wouldn't do that. They're nice boys, but they still got to go to Fayetteville and play Georgia. So Ole Miss, if they lose Saturday, they could lose 2 more games.
That's what I'm saying. They could lose a couple games, and they'll be completely out. They have to win. But this is a must-win for
must win.
I think. Listen, I think what the reality is though is just to expand on what Coach is saying here is I don't think it's that they're frauds. I don't think LSU or Ole Miss is particularly great. Right? They haven't played particularly great this year. So when you start breaking down the schedule, he just gave you the Ole Miss schedule. I'll give you the LSU schedule. So they play Ole Miss. Let's say they win that. Then they play at Arkansas. They have to play Texas A&M at Texas A&M. They play versus Alabama. They could very easily lose another 3 games. I think it's just as likely that neither one of those teams get in as it is that one of those teams get in. Not downplaying the significance of this game. I'm just saying, like, I don't think LSU is the LSU from 5 years ago, and I don't think Ole Miss is a team that has put it all together yet. Yeah, they have the talent. We've heard about the recruiting classes, but they still kind of have those highs and lows where it's like 1 week, they look great, and the next week you're scratching your head. And there's too many question marks on this roster having to play. Georgia's already been caught this year with an L. They're not going to sleepwalk into any more game. And I think we could all say, outside of maybe Alabama, Georgia across the board is probably the most physically talented team in the nation. So good luck to anybody else on that schedule because it's just going to be a wrecking crew, if you will. So I think both of those teams, Ole Miss and LSU, are going to have a hard time. I mean, keep in mind, and I get what you're saying, but Iowa State's 5-0 right now. If they continue to win, you can't leave them out. BYU is 5-0 right now. If they continue to win, you can't leave them out. So we already know LSU and Ole Miss at the very least they're playing head to head, are going to lose at least one or possibly two, maybe even three more games. I think both these teams end up being ranked 15 to 20 at year's end.
But you know what everybody forgets when it comes to this, especially with the selection committee? They don't say it, but they take into account how many eyeballs,
of course,
and how much money you are bringing to the table. And now they have 12
show.
teams. If it comes down to a coin flip between, say, an LSU or an Ohio State, LSU's getting it. Okay, because Ohio State has this many viewers. LSU got this many viewers.
Well, no,
all right.
The Ohio State got got pretty big.
No, not Ohio. I said Iowa. I said Iowa State, not Ohio State.
Iowa State.
Iowa State.
If they leave off an undefeated Army or Indiana or one of those type of teams to let a 3-loss LSU team in the playoffs, it's no worse than leaving off Florida State last year.
No, not that. I'm saying like if you got
Chandler's cooking. Let Chandler cook because I understand what he's trying to say.
If you coming down to the 10th, 11th, 12th slot, and the teams have basically the same records, it's gonna come down to money. It's gonna come down to how many people gonna tune in that game. Don't nobody want to watch Iowa State. Let's be clear, except the people in Iowa. All right, I ain't trying to be mean or nothing like that, but
only half of them. The other half is Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yeah, right. Not even half. Maybe about 20% of the people in Iowa want to watch Cyclone football.
So now, if you got an LSU team, right, with say 2 losses, and an Iowa State team with 2 losses, and say a Kansas State with 2 losses, LSU's getting in. Okay, and then you're going to take only one of the service academies is getting in. Yeah. Okay, and they can only have 1 loss.
Right.
They can only have 1 loss. So if either service academy got 2 losses, it's a wrap. They're not getting in. Okay, and I'm gonna say this: if Colorado somehow manages to only have 2 losses, they are getting in the playoff.
Absolutely.
Because you have half the people want to see Prime lose, and half people want just there because of Prime, and then another half, I just made it a whole and a half. Right, that's important.
1.5.
You got a hole in the half.
Hey, a third of people want to see Prime. A third of people want to see Prime. Third of people want to see.
What Chandler's trying to say is 150% of people want to watch Colorado.
There you go. For whatever reason. So
they hate Prime because they love Prime, or they
they hate him. So it's those last 3 slots to me are going to come down to name recognition and viewership numbers.
We talked about James Madison earlier. That 12 slot is going to go to. It has to. I mean, because they read it they literally wrote it in the rules of the 12-team playoff. That 12 slot is going to go probably to the highest ranked non-Power 5 school,
which would be Boise State, because everybody's heard of Boise State
or somebody like that. So the fight here is for that 10,
11, 9,
that 9, 10, 11. Those slots right there is where the real fight is, and where we're going to see. We're going to see what Utah does. We're going to have to see. We're going to see what teams like Utah and Clemson. Is Clemson going to do this? Is Clemson going to actually get up off the mat and because Clemson could throw a monkey wrench in these plays. If Cal keeps winning, if Miami keeps winning, it's all of a sudden the ACC that we kind of left for dead. SMU is
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame keeps winning. It's like Notre Dame,
Nebraska.
Nebraska. Look. It's funny. We can't do this like March Madness style and have a 64 team tournament.
Right.
We can't do this. There are going to be, I would say, at least 5 teams that are going to have legit gripes about being left out, because there's going to be a lot of teams sitting there with 1 loss, 2 loss, whatever. Hey, what about us?
Yeah.
Arizona State could be sitting there with 2 losses. Wait a minute. 3-loss Ole Miss got into the playoffs, and we sitting here with 2 losses. We lost to Utah, and we lost a tough game. What about us? You know,
SMU
I-
can win out and probably not get in.
yep.
I think Chandler's right though. When you look at Colorado, I mean, they still play ranked Kansas State, they play ranked Utah, and they have Oklahoma State to finish the year. So if they could manage to go through the rest of the year only losing one game, I think it's going to be pretty tough to keep them out.
Yeah, and they like the noise about who didn't get in because it's what does that do? It drives conversation and ad dollars during the off season, right? Because you're still talking college football. So don't think that they don't like leaving, that they don't purposely leave a couple of teams off to keep the conversation going. I mean, at the end of the day, this is about making money, man.
Right. And what's going to be interesting to me, because then I wanted to talk NFL, but we're not going to have a lot of time on this. But I'll just leave this out here for everybody to stew on. What's going to happen when these 12 teams get into this playoff and then kids start declaring for the NFL and then don't show up for the playoff?
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen?
Ooh.
How you going to make these kids play? How are you going to make these kids play?
That's the reason you put Army in.
Exactly. That's why SMU goes, right? That's why Colorado, because they'll play and not have like Florida State would have done last year, and none of these kids played in that bowl game against Georgia, and it was.
But then, see, I think there's a difference and we can move on and close things down.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference between, hey, do you want to play in the Music City Bowl, or do you want to play in a playoff game? These kids might be more likely to be like, you know what, this is a playoff game. This isn't the New Mexico Bowl.
Well,
but they want to secure their bag in the NFL, right?
And to keep in mind real quickly, just off of his point, if it's an Army, if it's in Indiana, this might be the opportunity for these guys to show their skills on a national type stage against other NFL talent.
Yeah,
right? Because the biggest knock is always they don't play against. Well, no, but like the reason guys like Christian McCaffrey sit out is because they've already proven it. This gives those kids an opportunity to show that they can quote unquote play with the big boys.
Yeah,
and I hope that's the case. I hope. Go ahead.
Well, man, no, I was gonna say my thing. What I would hate about we seeing stuff like this, if you have somebody like Jalen Milroe up until this last game, they was actually talking about he played himself into like a top
number 1
5 pick, and now you got Jalen Milroe, and they're saying, you know what, Jalen, you might want to not play in these playoff games. We got this other quarterback who ain't played all season. We're going to give him a chance because you don't want to hurt yourself. Or your agent get in your mind and say, you know what?
Yeah.
Hey, you didn't play yourself into a top 10 pick now. You might not want to play in these games. It's a little bit different situation with Texas because Ewers, go ahead and sit out. We got Manny waiting up there. Go ahead. You go ahead and, get your clipboard ready, be on the sideline. But there's gonna be some teams that, like you say, because dudes have played their way into that picture. The guy from Boise State,
Genty might be like, look, man, I'm going to Michigan. Best of luck to you guys against but I got the amazing blue bag I'm fit to get. Y'all have a good one. You know what I'm saying? So
hopefully, what I'm thinking is hopefully there's enough NIL money, Larry, right? To entice these kids to play this. Hey, if you play in this game, maybe I'll give you an extra check.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was like, Larry, playoff bonuses, baby.
But you know what?
Playoff bonuses.
But you know what I'm gonna tell y'all, and it's always been the saying: big bank take little bank.
That's it.
And if you got this 50 million guaranteed NFL money sitting over here, you got this 2 million NIL money over here.
Not even.
Remember when they said Caleb Williams wasn't going to declare for the draft because he had that NIL money? That didn't work out.
Yeah.
You're right. So we'll see how. It was burning in my head. I was like, I want to get to the NFL, but I gotta get that out of there. I just had to put it out there. So we'll see how that works out. We definitely gotta talk about that.
That NFL money is much longer.
When does the first rankings come out for the
Is it what, 2 weeks or 1 week?
2 weeks, I think.
2 weeks, right?
Yeah, which is when the first poll should come out. We talked about this all summer leading up. It's like the first polls of any kind shouldn't come out until like mid-October anyway. So that's
All right, so we got a couple weeks, and then we'll see where everything shakes out. It's going to be very interesting to see who are the first 12 in, and the first 3 or 4 out, right? So it's going to be very interesting.
The one thing I hate about that, and I know we talking in NCAA, is the first poll comes out, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many of these teams are going to crack under pressure knowing I can't lose a game?
If they do, then they don't deserve to be in.
No, because you know what? That was I'm being for real. This is a real topic. That was Urban Meyer once said it, and it's true. There was so much pressure to not lose a game because teams knew a 1-loss or 2-loss Alabama team was going to go into the playoffs.
Sure.
When that first poll comes out, and if we do see, that one LSU team that got 2 losses in there, when how many teams are going to be like, oh, okay, now we can't lose no games. And it might be some teams that fold under that pressure.
That's going to expose a lot of coaches because it's going to be the coaches that cause those teams to lose. It ain't going to be the players. You know what I'm saying? Because we know players, they thrive under that. But these coaches is going to crack. They're going to start doing things differently. They're going to change their routines, or they're going to make some bad decisions in a game where they don't need to make a bad decision.
A whole lot of fourth downs getting, 4th down and 20. We going for it.
We going for it.
Hey,
So I just looked it up. November 4th.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
About 2 weeks. That's about 2 weeks. We're about the middle of the month, damn near. So 2-3 weeks.
About 4 weeks. It's going to be interesting. It's 11 o'clock Eastern time here. We haven't even talked NFL, what happened in the week. I don't know if we want to hit it really fast because the villain's getting really tired. And I know,
everybody pick one thing. Everybody pick one thing.
All right. I'll start off first. My Giants won. I was very surprised. I picked them in the confidence pool. I did pick them plus points, right? But the one thing that did surprise me is that the Bengals right now are 1-4 team, and they don't. That's just I did 4-1 maybe 1-4. Didn't see that coming, and they placed my Giants this week. I didn't like what I saw there, and you know what? The Cowboys just got lucky again, so I can't stand them. Chandler, what did you take away from this past week?
I'm gonna take the DMV. I told you Jaden Fields was the truth.
Yep.
Told you he was the truth. And I love the way they're using him. I love what they're doing. The offensive line finally stopped point shaving like they did in that one game where all the 4 stars were in the red zone. I still say it was point shaving. I don't give a damn what nobody's saying. And the Lamar trope about him not being able to pass, we can finally put that to bed. We can finally put that to bed.
I agree. Breaking news. What did you take away from this past week?
Dallas is just bad, man.
Thank you.
They are. I mean, listen, my team is horrible. I'll be the first to say they don't deserve to make the playoffs, losing 2 divisional games up by 10 in the fourth quarter. But Dallas somehow, managed to win this game, and I still think I can't watch that game and think they're a good team. So in essence, I have to also say Pittsburgh is a bad team. I know the defense is good, but I don't know. I just think the Ravens are head and shoulders above everybody else in that division. They have, I've heard, there's going to be 3 teams coming out of that division, the North, AFC North specifically for the playoffs. They're going to have one. That's my opinion. They're going to have one team, and it's going to be the Ravens. The Bengals are horrific. I don't know what happened, but the Browns quite literally will not block for Deshaun Watson. I think they're trying to kill him. They're trying to kill him.
They treat him like any given Sunday.
Yeah. He at this point. Listen, at this point, it looks like he's asked for the massages and the masseuses are chasing him around the field. There is so many people. I mean, he doesn't even finish his drop back, and there's people already on top of him. And it's it didn't happen like that last year. So the only conclusion I can come to is they don't like him. They don't like him in Cleveland because they were willing to block for 38-year-old Joe Flacco. They're not willing to block for the statue Joe Flacco they'll block for. They're not willing to block for Deshaun Watson.
Bill Callahan. They got rid of Bill Callahan.
Yeah.
The O-line guru.
That's right. He can't head coach for his life like Robert Saleh, right? But he can coach the hell out
Boy,
of
he know how to get
line.
that O-line in tip-top shape.
Yes, he does.
Mhm.
But he with his
O-line
son though.
whisperer.
Can you blame him? He with his son.
O-line whisperer. You're not
Yeah.
wrong.
I'm gonna say Bill Callahan and Ken Dorsey.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we all saw how Josh Allen looked with Ken Dorsey.
Yep.
Yeah, you ain't wrong. You ain't lying. Talk to me, LG. What'd you take away from this week?
Oh man, I was gonna let Coach go. Coach was like he's ready. Oh, okay.
All right.
You know what? I'm gonna take this away from this week. So breaking news. I'm gonna go the opposite way. The Niners are the best looking 2-3 team out there. They are.
Oh my God.
They are.
Hey, you know what?
I love it.
I hate to say this, but like the person who says I got second place, like second place is the first loser. To say like I'm the smartest kid on the short bus is not necessarily a compliment.
No, the Niners always start off slow. And I'm gonna say this. When Moody got hurt, Kyle started calling the game differently because we couldn't kick the ball. So I'm gonna say the Niners are the best 2-3 team out there. Because you could say the same thing about the Cowboys. The Cowboys are 3-2, and they the worst looking 3-2 team out there.
They're
like
pathetic.
They look like they're only winning because of the schedule that's in front of them. Yeah. And like I said, I took that away. I think Lamar's gonna probably win another MVP. I hope he don't crap the bed in the playoffs. They probably start using Derrick Henry. Somebody said, hey, you know what? You put this 300-pound fullback in front of Derrick Henry, run the ball downhill, good things may happen. I wonder
by the way,
we were on the show, and I said, what's going to happen when people have to make business decisions because you got Picard and Derrick Henry running downhill?
Mm-hmm.
Right,
yeah,
I
don't think that's going to be a good look. Kansas City still doing Kansas City things. I don't know how they keep winning these games. You know, they get these magical calls and
referees.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I
just got a nasty cold right.
Every time they show a Taylor Swift, we know what's about to happen. You know,
it's like you see her on the Titan Giants code for. All right, we got to fix this next play.
Yeah. Hey, that's when the commercial break don't show the huddle and the refs in the huddle. Yeah, cut to Taylor Swift, but. Like I said, I'm one of them people that it's still early in the season. I think that the Texans they grew up this weekend.
Yeah.
I wish Sirius was on the show because Barry, you remember we got into this whole argument about high ankle sprains.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon still's not playing. Joe Mixon has a high ankle sprain, and we all know that the basis of a Shanahan offense, a Skulik offense, is running the ball. The Texans still run the ball, and to say that they did not have Joe Mixon, Nico Collins went down. They grew up. Buffalo made some mistakes, but they grew up. They grew up a little bit this week. We're gonna see how that's gonna play out. And then like I said, I hope Sirius is listening and he's gonna finally admit that Justin Fields is his quarterback.
It is. He is. He's not the problem. They need Devontae Adams.
Their real problem is, and I Chandler, do not take what I say personally. Me and Steers, we talk. I do not have a personal problem with Russell Wilson. The problem with the Steelers is their O-line. Nobody talks about Najee Harris averaging 3 yards a carry.
They cannot run the ball. 3 yards. They
cannot
run the ball. It's awful to see a Steeler team not be able to run the ball.
And not be able to fix it for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And we talked about Deshaun having rushes in his face. Fields is running for his life. They're calling design run plays for him because they know he's getting rushed up the middle, up the side. It's been a lot of plays that he's had to turn miracles out of that awful offensive line.
Maybe they don't like him either.
Maybe they don't. Well, they must don't like Najee Harris either because they ain't blocking him either.
But look at the difference with the Giants. They got a competent offensive line, and now you got a rookie in Tracy Jr. that can run for over 100 yards. it makes a difference.
Look, yeah, that right there kind of saved y'all too, because special teams.
I still think Brian Daboll trying to get fired by putting that other kid back in every time.
No, you know what though. Say what you want about Daboll, and I don't want to belabor this because I want coach to go, and now I want to go to bed. But I'm sorry, but like the Giants easily could have lost that game because they didn't want to play for that coach. Like they could have said, you know what? I don't have Neighbors. I don't have Singletary. I don't like Daboll as my coach. I'm not going to show up. They played their ass off. They played their ass off in Seattle in a place that they probably shouldn't have won. So they will play for Daboll. Daboll's not the problem. They got a mid quarterback. Coach, take us home.
Put it like this. I want to just jump in right quick, Barry.
Good.
Like I can tell you right this. They might love Daboll, but no matter what Daniel Jones do, he is not going to be their quarterback.
No, he's not. No, because you got to look past the Neighbors effect and look at him as a quarterback.
Yeah.
He ain't it. But you know what? In the Seattle game and probably the game before the Dallas game too, a lot of drops. A lot of drops passed by the receivers. You know, that's not Daniel Jones' fault. So that might save him.
No.
But you know what? It's still he's good sometimes. He's the other times he's bad a lot of the times. He's a mid quarterback. Can you win with a mid quarterback right now? No. Mm-mm. So you got to go into the draft. Coach, what do you got?
The Jets.
Don't do that. Don't do that to Unc. You be mean. You just trying to be nasty.
He got his green shirt on and everything. He knew what time it was today.
Go ahead, Coach. Give me a quick reaction and we can get out of here.
All right. So I'll say this. The more things change, the more things stay the same. The Chiefs are undefeated. Going for this 3 yeah. Some help from the referees a little bit. A smidge, a little bit of help, a little bit of home cooking. You know, little bit of
Coach, remember you talk about targeting? You talk about targeting 1 week is pass interference, the next week?
Yeah, what's pass interference? It's like it's like what are rules? You know what I'm saying?
Define holding for me.
Yeah, so it's like I said, it's the more things change, the more things stay the same. So, and it's like, speaking of the other team in that game, remember when the Saints were 2-0 and everybody was like, oh man, look at the Saints. When the Saints come marching in, they had the second line going down Bourbon. Oh man, look, Derek Carr, blah blah blah. And then now you look up, you blink twice, and the Saints are 2-3. You know, and to bring it all home, what does that say about the Dallas Cowboys that they got their ass kicked by the New Orleans Saints? Ladies and gentlemen, I rest my case.
The defense rests. All my friends and family members that are Cowboy fans, admit it to yourself. The Cowboys stink.
They stink.
They stink.
They're bad. They're real bad.
I'm gonna hit them like what's my man from the Chappelle Show, the first episode, Bingham, right? They stank. They stank.
When they start playing the real team,
Clayton Bigsby,
really
Clayton Bigsby, right? Because I hate Cowboys because they stink.
Like I said, when they start playing real teams, they really gonna stink.
Their first test is this week, 4:00 game. They're gonna get their behinds beat by the Lions. The Lions are gonna run it down their damn throat, and then it ain't gonna get much better after that. Because I think they play the 49ers too, right? This year, they got. I think their next 4 or 5 games are not to be messed with. Like that's gonna be a tough schedule.
So me and Sirius was talking. I told him, I say, dude, that actually speaks more to your Steelers because the Cowboys have not been able to stop the run all damn season.
Mm-hmm.
That lets you know how bad that Steelers line is for them not to be able to run it down.
The Giants couldn't run against them either. That was the problem too, right? The Giants couldn't run against the Cowboys, and now this week the Steelers couldn't run against them.
But I think Singletary had 90 in that game, though. Singletary had
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's either the fact that the Cowboys stepped it up and said, "I'm not going to let you run it down my throat," or the Cowboys and the Giants and the Steelers, dude, we can't run the ball.
I just think the Steelers' offensive line has been bad all year. It's been it was like the second game. Najee Harris had like 20-something carries for like 30 yards.
Yeah,
they've been bad all year. But yeah, that's when you already see how bad these Cowboys really is over here. Yeah.
And one thing I got to do it. Before I get out of here, I got to give the 5-0 Vikings their props. 5-0 Vikings, right? Sam Darnold ain't seeing ghosts no more. All he's seeing is nothing but wins. So
he's seeing wide open receivers.
He threw for 179 yards. He threw for 179 yards, and he threw an interception. Stop it.
5-0. Stop.
Stop
Don't
it.
be a Jets fan. Stop it.
I'll get
How many
There are
interceptions
2
did
undefeated
Rodgers?
teams in the NFL. One is the Chiefs, and one is the Minnesota Vikings.
Donald is trash.
How many interceptions did Rodgers throw that game?
Donald is trash. So is Aaron Rodgers.
I'd rather be trash on a 5-0 team. Holla at your boy.
No, we gotta give Brian Flores his props because that dude was drugged through the mud. That Minnesota defenses was been really keeping them.
They're flying.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Brian Flores is still getting dragged through the mud, right? I think he's still got stuff hanging out there.
They got lawsuits. And Tua tried to throw him under the bus. Tua was like, "Oh, he said I was garbage."
He said he probably were. I mean, he probably didn't mean like as a talent. Probably. Well, we'll get into that.
Well, I mean, everybody looks good when they got Waddle and Hill and and everybody else. Yeah, everybody looks good.
Not everybody because Hundley didn't look good. They got the win, but
some people are career backups for a reason.
That was an ugly game. I'm ready to go. That was an
ugly
game.
It's a bunch of fantasy dudes out here. Like, man, what happened to Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, that was my number 1 pick. Thank you. So that's trash.
We got to do a whole fantasy show because it's been
we'll probably figure out something to do a fantasy show. I mean, speaking of that, tomorrow night, I'm not sure what time we get started. We'll definitely post something. We're doing a recap of Bad Blood WWE recap. I know Larry's going to be attentively watching, because I know he was watching the whole pay-per-view and it really wants to get his opinion on how good that Hell in a Cell match was between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre to open the show, no less. So you had a lot of comebacks in the Bad Blood last night. You had Jimmy Uso, you had Goldberg teasing a match, and you had the People's Champ, the final boss, The Rock, come back.
Which I called that return. I felt it. I was like, I think we're going to see Dwayne, and he showed up, and I was like, yes.
Coach is gonna.
I just want to know. Coach, did you text Barry and told him this is Metro Boomin playing? This is Future playing.
Look, man. Look, no, I didn't. It's like, look. It is what it is. It's like we from the South. We know who Future is. We know who Metro Boomin is. It's like I was just listening to Without Warning, like literally this morning.
Yeah.
Like Villain has no idea what that means. What I just said.
But see, Coach could have texted me that, and I still wouldn't know what the hell he was talking about. I didn't know any of those dudes. Like, what the hell?
Like, this is the music you're listening to right now.
Yeah.
When he texts you Metro Boomin is on, I mean, he ate some bad Mexican food, bro.
He could have said that, and I would have thought that would have been like, what is that? The DMV? Is that an area?
It's a stupid damn name. How your rap name gonna be Metro Boomin? Like you got a bad case of diarrhea.
He's a producer. He's not even a rapper. He's a producer. Metro. Boomin Beats. Metro.
Listen, if you're in music and that's the name you pick, bro, listen, go away.
Chandler, you probably
Savage Mode 2 is a classic, and y'all just don't know. You do not know. You don't know. You don't know what you're talking about.
I ain't listening to nobody with a name that sounds like a bad case of diarrhea.
What's a classic?
Savage Mode 2.
Oh, Steve, do you want to go there with him? Because we would have
the Mode.
Weekly music reviews. Steve, remember?
Oh yeah. We got away from that. We need to bring that back, man.
Yeah, we do need to bring that back.
Please save that for the direct to YouTube.
There you go.
I'm just saying, Chandler, you cannot. Football and music go hand in hand. If you go to a game, you're listening to
good football and good music.
They go hand in hand, bro. They go hand in hand.
Thank you.
Okay,
I just listened to the new on my way to work because I got like an.
Are you having a stroke, sir?
No, I'm just quoting RZA. You know what I'm saying? It's like I love Wu-Tang.
Are you having a stroke, sir?
You know what I'm saying?
But seriously, I have a long commute to.
What the hell are you saying?
that's the RZA. Come on, I listened to the new Freeway album that came out, Stimulus Package.
That was pretty
2,
good.
so
That was pretty good.
It was good.
I will recommend that. So, and then there's another album I got to listen to on my way to work that you guys probably don't know anything about, but that's fine. Nicolay, he's a from the Netherlands, a producer.
Why you in there? Go ahead and get in some Big X to plug, man.
Boss Man D-Lo.
Yeah.
Oh,
Boss
Yeah,
Man D-Lo changed your life.
on that note, we can end the show.
yes, please.
I have no idea what the hell you just said. Chandler, thank you for stopping by. We love you, Unc. Don't be a stranger. Please come back again. We love talking with you. Even though you're wrong about Salah. No, I'm kidding. You're absolutely right. He sucked. Chandler, give us a plug as we get out of here.
I'll say this. People always talk about find your friends that'll do this, find your friends that'll do that. Find friends who will allow you to talk about the fact that you're bawling like a child because you had to surrender your dog. 988 option 1 is very helpful, has been very helpful for me the past couple of weeks. That's it, man. That's it. That's all I got, man.
We love you, Chandler. Thank you
Love
for
you,
coming, man.
Yes.
All right, be good. We love it. Coach, give us a quick plug as we get on out of here, brother.
Yeah, y'all already know. It's like, I try to get in here when I can. When I can't get in here, I enjoy it. And when I'm not in here, I listen. You know what I'm saying? I love what we're doing here at the Executive View. Hey, if you see the link, share the link. It's very simple, people. You know what I'm saying? If you see it, share it. It's that simple. And that being said, God is good
all the time.
Make sure to drink y'all water, even though it's getting cold now. Make sure you stay hydrated. Even in these colder months, you got to stay hydrated. And of course, philosophies, kaleidoscopes. Wu-Tang is for the children. I might see y'all next week. I might not. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be a surprise for everybody.
I'll see you tomorrow, though. I'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. You'll see me tomorrow, though. Bad blood.
Absolutely. Bad blood. All right. Listen, LG, always a pleasure. My co-host with the most. Get us out of here, brother.
Oh man, I feel like I got a promotion at work, man. Hey, it's always a pleasure. Like I said, I'm glad, man. We had pretty much everybody in today, man. It was a really good show. I kind of gonna echo what Steve's saying, man. If you see the show, share the show. I used to be an insurance agent, and I'm a strong believer that everybody should know what you do. Whether it's business, whether it's something you do personally, whether it's, hey, I'll even go to, even if it's a side hustle or something like that, everybody should know what you do. So definitely, if you see the show, share the show. If you know it's a friend, and you want to share it to a friend, share a friend, have another friend share it, and keep supporting us at the Executive View. And I'll just say that it's been a pleasure as always, and we're gonna get you on some more outside of New York music. Yo, son, I'm on my stoop. Yo, you know me.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
Freeway's from Philadelphia. What are we talking about?
East Coast, man. We're gonna get you off some.
I love Kenny. I love you. Listen, I love Paul Wall. I like Devin the Dizu.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I love UGK.
Yeah, man, we're gonna get you on some of this more current, Southern music over here. Like what you gotta say, like Andre say, man, the South got something to say.
I know. Who's the dudes from Atlanta that they think is like Outkast, but they're really not.
Migos.
No, I don't listen to those fools. No, the other dudes. Damn, I can't even remember the name. See, I'm blanking.
We're gonna find them. We're gonna find them for you, man. We're gonna.
They're like I can't remember their name.
We'll think about it.
I'll text you. I'll text you later.
Yeah, we know it's late, but
it's late. I'll text you there.
To wrap the show up, from my point of view, and I wish I had a close up, a zoom in to tell Aaron Larry was right, and Justin Fields is his quarterback.
Justin Fields is his quarterback. He needs to stop lying to himself.
Yes.
All right. Exactly. Just stop lying to yourself. We love it. But I appreciate you. I appreciate you, brother. All right, peace. Listen, I have to close the show. I hate doing this. Nobody does it better than Aaron. But listen, anybody that's affected by the storm down there, please in Florida, please be safe. Please check on your loved ones. It's really a serious situation down there. But listen, we're repping all zip codes, all area codes across this country. Thank you, everybody that supports us, that listens to us. Please, like they said, if you like the link, share the link, tell a friend. Tell a neighbor, tell your family members. We're doing a lot of big things. People ask about the show all the time. We're about to do some big things this year into next year. So it's a lot of fun. Thank you, Sirius, for stopping through. I know he had a little bit of a family emergency, but we love you either way. We always hold it down for everybody. Make sure you listen to us tomorrow on our wrestling special after the pay-per-view, talking about the WWE Bad Blood and the outlook of WWE as we go forward. More shows are coming our way. We're doing a lot of great things, man. Just listen to us. And as we always say, just share the link, man. We love what we do here. We love doing it for you. All right? Peace.